Not the Chuddle.
Chuddle. Surprise.
I have a real soft spot for evil.
Blood flying everywhere.
So good.
I'm a big boy who doesn't get scared.
Out of the mist and into the fog, it's Chuddle the Pod.
Ho, 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 and sup, sup, sup. Merry winter solstice holiday to you all. It is I. It is us. It is Chuddle the Pod, a horror movie club where horror movie lovers have a feel-good time. We dive into horror movies club style, asking and answering the same questions every week. We keep it spoiler-free up top and let you know when the spoilers are about to drop. But what are we going to chuddle tonight? We're going to chuddle Gremlins. But I am not alone tonight. Brian, are you here?
No.
Oh, I am alone tonight. No, I'm not alone tonight. Brian is not here. But we do have our classic Roos Ross Posgos. Ross.
Oh, hey.
Very nice. And we are still not alone. We have a guest, one of our very first guests and one of the closest podcast friends of the pod and real life
We bought him in Chinatown.
The Magua himself, Travis Maxel Boone from the nightclub.
The first Chuddle guest,
Yes.
and I want to say a Merry Chuddlemas to you all.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
it's really neat to be back in Chuddletown. It's like really neat.
Yeah. Do you like all the fakes? You like all the fake snow?
Yes, dude.
Funny.
And
We took
It's
a
a
tip.
stylistic choice.
It is. We also took a tip from what was it, Wizard of Oz, and it's just shredded asbestos.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Don't breathe in too deep.
I want Darlene Love's Christmas playing like in the background. Dude, like, yeah, I'm glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Glad to have you. And before we continue, we must take this moment to think of our coven of patrons. Your sacrifice gives us life, and we thank your beautiful souls.
Thank you.
Patrons get bonus episodes where we cover all sorts of things, mailbags. We're bringing Chuddle battles again. We do non-horror movies. We've been doing some weird news stories. We have fun over in there.
Yeah,
and well, that's really it. We can go ahead and get to it. All club member present, coven avowed.
Yep.
It's time to crack open that goo book and officially begin tonight's meeting.
Give me that goo. Oh, yeah.
Starting with the liney parts. Let's
do some lines. Why did I do yours? That's hilarious.
Starting with our log line from IMDb, a young man inadvertently breaks 3 important rules concerning his new pet and unleashes a horde of malevolently mischievous monsters on a small town.
Okay, so I think that's a little misleading. I think that he broke one of those rules.
His friend,
And then his friend broke another one, and then his pet broke the the last or the first one. So I mean, besides that,
and he didn't know he was breaking rules.
He didn't know.
Can I do one of them?
Yeah.
I want to do one of them. This is from the posters and shit, right?
Yeah. The taglines.
Cute, clever, mischievous, intelligent, dangerous.
It's.
Ooh. You had a nice tang to that. I like that.
I'm not sure how I feel about that one. To be,
it's a little too National Geographic. Like I feel like that would be like something like on an excerpt card. You know what I mean? Like
cut out mischievous and intelligent. Give me cute, clever, dangerous. Like just chop it down a little bit.
Oh,
I got you.
Like
but
it comes in 3s, not 5s.
I do, but you say Candyman 5 times. I like how this is like you add the mischievous and the intelligent because.
It is.
Well, we'll get into it.
Yeah.
It's a road to dangerous mischievousness and intelligence. Then we get You Can't Get Burned Seeing Gremlins, which is a very funny tagline.
I like the fact they're like, listen, you're gonna roll the dice seeing this movie, but you're not gonna regret it.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Steven Spielberg presents.
I mean, that's
all
it's
you
a
need to
selling
know.
point.
Yeah. It totally is.
We got the cute, clever, mischievous, intelligent, dangerous, and then crossed out, we're here.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how I hear it in my head reading it. You know what I mean? I tried to just say it normal, but combine the two.
No, it makes me think of but that's a good pull, but it makes me think of that animated dinosaurs movie, We're Back.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Could you? Oh my God, Gremlins the size of dinosaurs.
Oh, you're fucked, son.
Yeah.
Until the sun comes up.
Yeah.
What you see isn't always what you get.
Okay. All right. I like that. It's a little flirty.
The Gremlins are coming.
With it.
I like that one because it's a play on the
Gremlins
Germans
are
are coming.
Yes.
And the whole gremlin thing, mythology in this kind of came out of World War II stories. So that's fun. Don't get them wet, keep them out of bright light, and never feed them after midnight.
See, that one's a really good one because at least it shows you, like, from Jump Street, you know what the rules are.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And it's kind of intriguing. It's like, what are all these? What is this?
What are these rules?
I like where part 2 takes that don't feed them after midnight thing and plays with that trope.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And maybe I'm jumping a shark way too hard, or jumping ahead way too hard, rather.
To the next movie.
It does make because it just does make you wonder. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so it's like
there are definitely logic loopholes with these rules that we're going to get into, because there's a glaring one the second Gizmo shows up.
All right,
but we'll get to it.
Last tagline: they didn't obey the rules.
Fuck yeah,
I feel
dude.
like, okay, so if they had the marketing scheme, I feel like the Gizmo box should be like the 3 rules, and then the poster right next to it is the same box ripped apart, and it says they didn't follow the rules.
That would be awesome.
If that was like a side-by-side poster,
that would be chef's kiss, eh?
Yeah.
Isagu. All right, movies are made by people. The people that made this movie are... It's written by Chris Columbus and directed by Joe Dante. Starring Zach Galligan as Billy, Phoebe Cates as Kate, Hoyt Axton as Randall Peltzer, John Louis as Chinese boy. Let's see here. Key Luke is grandfather. That's important. Let me find another good one. Corey Feldman is Pete.
Good old Pete.
Dick Miller is Mr. Futterman.
Fucking Richard Miller, the man.
Polly Holiday is Mrs. Deagle. And Judge Reinhold as Gerald Hopkins.
What a douchebag.
There's more, but there's your keys.
I also want to say story by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, yeah?
Chris Columbus wrote the script, but yeah, this is a Steven Spielberg idea.
Really? That is not what the IMDb behind the scenes told me, but that's the Wikipedia movie trivia.
I love the fact that Corey Feldman was in this and Friday the 13th last chapter the same year.
That's why he didn't go back to do part 5.
Friday the 13th, the last chapter.
Well, either it was this or it was the it was the Goonies. Yeah, last chapter.
So they thought.
It's the final chapter, right?
It's the final chapter.
Great. Yeah, Joe Dante directed a bunch of other good stuff. Chris Columbus wrote the Goonies.
Dude,
it is, yeah. It's
The Howling.
Oh, dude, it's so amazing when you see a Dante film. But like, I like that it's the insanity of a Dante film, but to the backdrop of like a Norman Rockwell painting. And I think that's what I really like about this movie is that like, you get the creature effects, you get the insane concept, but it's on this just such surreal backdrop.
It's like you get a black comedy movie juxtaposed with the fucking Christmas, and perfect time to put this episode out, by the way. So hats off to you guys over at Chuddle for doing this, because this is definitely a Christmas horror movie, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. I like the fact that what was it? Steven Spielberg said this is not a horror movie, and then Joe Dante was like, this is not a Christmas movie. And I like the and I think
they were both fighting over this shit.
No, they were just interviewed separately about it. He goes, no. This is, and then and when it comes out, he goes, no, guys, this is actually like a really good Christmas horror movie. So
Well, the weird part too is that this was released in June in 1980. Whatever.
Yeah, it was
year.
because the competition that summer was I think Raiders of the Lost Ark and Ghostbusters, and they were like, but that was like it. There was only 2 movies, so they were like, they pushed production up to get it out in time to be out in summer to compete against those movies instead of release it at Christmas time.
Do you have the part in your trivia about like the backlash of this movie? Like, do you have that part in the trivia?
No, like
This
mad that it was a Christmas movie type of thing.
so it was
No.
what was it? Temple of Doom and
Raiders.
Raiders, and then well, this movie,
Gremlins.
well, because it's
Yeah.
PG.
Oh, I do
Yeah.
have the PG-13 is
Yeah. So I'm jumping
Okay,
ahead.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
but I didn't there's nothing about people being upset there. It's just it was created because
Well, people were mad about the violence and like the fact that it was PG. And I always thought, this is why I was going to bring it up, is because I always thought Jaws was the reason
Me too.
that the PG-13 got invented, but apparently it was because of this movie.
Yes, there was like, this was the tipping, like, I guess it's kind of like the tipping scale, and then 2 months after this movie was released, PG-13 was a thing.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Jaws, and
I
then when
thought
I
it was
read that, I
Jaws,
was
too.
like,
Until I
Yeah,
read that as
that's-
well, yeah.
I think that's the story we kind of in the horror community like tell each other, and then when you go look at it, it's like, oh,
Right.
It was
It's one of
Gremlins,
those things
bitch.
people just say.
Yeah.
yeah.
That you're like, sure, it makes sense. You're not like, let me look that up.
Yeah. Let me fact check that.
Oh, I do.
What
Now I do.
time is it? It's time.
It's time
for
for
the
the Gorometer. Fatality.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, Psycho to the Sadness, how gory is this film?
Okay, so Sam and I were talking about this before we were recording. I'm having a lot of problems with our Gorometer. I feel like this movie I feel like this should be the Gremlin Gorometer versus a normal Gorometer, because most of the gore in this movie is Gremlin gore.
Yeah, all of it, isn't it?
All of it. It's almost exclusively Gremlin gore.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, we still, I mean, again, without, I think
let's grade
there's
the
3
Gremlin
people
gore.
that, yeah. All right. So if we're just going Gremlin gore, I would say intensity would be a 5, because I mean, you get dismemberment.
The intensity is up there, yeah.
Because I mean, you get full melting, decapitation, impalement.
You don't have to list
blowing
them
up.
off.
Okay, yeah. But it's a lot. I mean, like, you get copious amounts of gore.
Mhm.
I think
I thought about this too, but yeah, I'm hearing you out.
yeah. And then consistency would be lower, because I mean, like, it doesn't really pop off until what, like 49 minutes into the movie or something
That's
like
when
that.
we like finally have them, but the Gremlin
Yeah.
gore is even later. So
Yeah. So like consistency, I was thinking a 3, but it's probably going to be like a 2.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of Gremlin death, but it happens in like pretty much like the last quarter of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So
if
what,
you're a
that'd be like a
gremlin
7?
watching this, it's like a 7 out of 10.
It's like a 7 out of 10.
for a gremlin. Yeah, I agree, because it's like, I mean, essentially for real gore, is it a 0? I can't think of anything.
No, it's not.
No, I mean, I would say
You get Billy well, if you don't want to spoil scenes, but
No.
you get stuff
Yeah.
with humans. But
Okay, yeah, you're right.
yeah. I mean, I
To
would
like a
probably say
1.
I would give the Gorometer.
yeah, it's like a 1.
It's like a 1. You could maybe have a loose argument for a 2, but like, it's not
No higher than
human
that.
gory.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
Which is amazing for a Dante film, to be totally honest with you. The lack of like human, like, ripping apart. You know what I mean? But
The fact that it's tied to Spielberg's name, though, and that I think this was geared towards a family audience.
It was.
yeah,
This like the marketing campaign behind this was crazy. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to overstep.
No, you're fine. So you agree
Yeah.
with all Gorometer talk?
No,
Okay. What do you have to say?
no,
Is it the Gremlin gore?
I think the Gremlin gore, and so because I was thinking about the Chuddle and how y'all do the Gorometer,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to look at this from the aspect of intensity, I'm going to say this is about a 3 out of 5 because the gremlin gore is far and few between. You get some in a few scenes, and then towards the end, what you get is spectacular. But
that's
the movie is not like...
That's what the intensity is versus the consistency.
But I've seen Terrifier and the Sadness. It's not that intense, dude.
Sure.
Like
it's
cool,
hard for it to be intense
not...
when it's not, when it's like a green little gremlin creature.
and it's great, and it's more than like a child should probably see at a young age, but I will still give it that 3 out of 5 and say it's pretty intense.
Sure.
And then for consistency, like a 2.
Yeah.
At being generous, I think. So I'd go with like a 5 out of 10 for the Gorometer. If you're a gremlin, if you're a person, it's like a 1.
Cool. All right. Another drop will be played.
Who is the fool?
4 questions. Subgenres, environment, beginners. Should you know anything? Starting with subgenres. Holiday horror, we already said.
Holiday horror,
and I would say
creature feature.
It's weird because a lot of Christmas horror movies are kind of still horror movies first. I don't know how to put it. This is, but maybe because it's for the family, it feels more like fits into Christmas movies type of thing.
Yes.
You just mentioned Terrifier 3. Like, this is obviously not that, but it's it just feels
it's
better.
More family
the way it shot,
friendly.
the style and everything. It's the backlots. It's just got that.
You have the families involved in like the scene. Well, I can't go into it, but there's parts where the family gets involved throughout the movie, and the fact that it's around Christmas, and the whole premise of it is that Gizmo is a Christmas present. Right. Spoiler from the first 10 minutes of the movie, but he's a Christmas present. So I just think, like, dude, I agree with that. Like, this does feel Christmas forward horror as the undercurrent.
Yeah.
Well,
it's got a traditional Christmas movie feel to it.
Absolutely. I feel like it's a I don't even know if you've even coined this on the pod yet. This is almost like family friendly horror, as in like this is like a socially acceptable horror movie for younger kids.
Absolutely.
I haven't shown my kids like this movie yet, but I can't wait to.
Oh,
and I
totally.
think this year might be the year. They're 6 and 7.
The issue is they have to know Santa's not real.
Oh
no.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Just mute the monologue. Just mute the monologue. That's all you have to do.
The cops
that's how you know they're at the right age, is that has happened.
When you don't have to mute the monologue.
But also I feel like for a subgenre movie, you could also put this in the category of little creatures getting fucking their guts blown up.
Sure. Well, this kind of started
like little
the
creature
subgenre, or like, it started a series of knockoffs.
Yes.
Munchies, fucking
Critters.
Trolls, or Troll.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, Troll came out first, huh?
I
guess Troll
so.
came out first, but Trolls, plural.
Oh, there was a different one. I know Munchies was one. Probably Hobgoblins was another one.
Oh, there's a lot of like little creature movies that came out after this. That
did the Critters come out after this?
Oh yeah, and Troll came out after this too.
Oh well, then probably both of those two. Then I would throw
like,
up there.
Oh my god, puppets work! All right, let's do this.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking Ewoks.
Definitely influential.
Ewoks, all that.
Dude, I used to watch those Ewok movies. I used to watch them like the stand.
Me too, when I was a kid.
Dude, I loved them. I'd rent them over and over again. Seriously, man, I love those Ewok movies.
I did too.
You remember they had the little magic stones or some shit like that?
I don't really remember. I remember the kid falls in the water and can't get out. It's like he's like trapped in it once he falls into one side of it.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I'd want to watch
it.
those again.
Yeah. I think that works for subgenres. Black comedy, dark comedy.
Yeah, I would say dark comedy.
For sure, for sure.
Yet also zany comedy. This is a
Off the
tough
wall
balance.
chaos.
Yeah, it's
Guys,
it's
tonight-
weird because it's like a Gremlins movie and then a Humans movie. Like the dark comedy is mostly centered towards like the human interactions, and then all of the Looney Tunes style comedy is almost entirely done by the Gremlins.
True.
But then
And
it's
tonight
almost dark comedy in itself that they're doing these zany things
Yeah.
while being
Murderous.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got the chaos factor for y'all tonight.
Uh-oh.
This is what I was watching the movie today, and I was like, how do you divide a movie up like this? And I've got the chaos factor. So as we go through the movie, the chaos factor is going to increase. It's going to be like DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2 type
It is,
shit.
and then until like it just hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of environment is the best to watch this?
I would probably say first time watching it, probably more close knit. I wouldn't say individual watch, but this is again, it ties in this weird family friendly thing. Like watch it with people you like
Around
You know what I
Christmas
mean?
time.
Like, around Christmas time. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad like hangout party movie, but again, it's got
It's
49
not.
minutes of dead air.
It really
before we
can
kinda get into it.
go all directions, kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be like Sam just said, you could watch it with friends on Christmas time is appropriate for the setting. It would give it that vibe. But also if you watch it on your own, like I did today, it's just, yeah, man, like this could be watched any kind of way. I think this movie is just universally
It's a crowd pleaser.
good for any kind of watch.
Is it for beginners? Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. As
Yeah.
long as your faith in Santa Claus is not dependent on it, go for it.
You know what? Just because
Yeah.
people dress up like Santa Claus doesn't mean Santa's not real, Sam.
She says, and that's when I learned Santa wasn't real.
That's what I'm saying. Mute the monologue. You just have to mute the monologue. And then after that, everything's totally fine.
Dude, it's so dark.
And should you know anything about it going into it?
I would probably say just off of like the box alone and the rating that it is definitely not a PG movie. Like this is the reason why they made PG-13 movies.
Sure.
Like that would be the only thing.
And on the opposite spectrum, if you're like a hardcore horror guy who's just never gotten to Gremlins, don't expect like a
Splatterfest.
yeah.
Unless you're a gremlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't add much to that. But I agree. Like, don't show this to kids that are too young. But this is a family horror movie and a darker one than it might seem on the surface. So you just
Absolutely.
need to know that going in.
Fappity fap. Chuddle Harbinger of Doom, Mothman fapping his way over.
Fapping it hard.
He's here to warn us of any issues we may have with this film.
I mean, there's some slight cruelty to animals getting strung up with lights.
Yeah. Still kind of zany though.
Still zany. It's still, but it's mild to animal abuse.
I don't think there's
guess
anything.
No, and
Gross out horror to a certain degree.
Sure.
To a certain degree.
honestly, I would say if you believe in Santa Claus, you're not gonna.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right.
I don't think there's much to be afraid of with this movie.
No, it's, again-
or much to watch out for if you have certain phobias.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Buckle up, butternuts.
Highway to the Gremlin Zone.
All right, starting with IMDb behind the scenes. There was a fucking ton of them. I
Oh,
cut
yeah.
down to the stuff I thought was most interesting, and there's still a lot up front and a lot stuck in there. So here we go.
Stuck.
The set for Kingston Falls is the same one used for the Back to the Future. Both
Great
movies were
Scott!
filmed on the Universal Studios backlot.
That's dope, dude.
And as soon as you see the little town square,
Yeah.
when I on this revisit, I was like, that reminds me a lot of the town square in Back to the Future. So
I never even put it together, but I love both of those both these
yeah,
movies.
exactly.
So
I love Back
that's
to the
wild.
Future so much I had to put it in there.
I watched one or two interviews with like Dante, and then a few he loved the aspect of this not really looking like a real.
Oh
town.
yeah, that'll be in here.
That would be in there too. Yeah. I also like that because I think we've talked about it before with certain movies, like this uncanny valley type thing.
Mhm.
But like when you actually lean into it, where like the town is so surreal and picturesque that the things that are absurd things that are happening around it, like it pairs nicely with it.
Yeah.
That's wild to me because to me, this, like, I always grew up watching this movie, and I know we're going to get into that part later, but I always grew up watching this movie feeling like this could be my town.
Oh, interesting.
Like this.
Oh, totally.
It felt like every town USA to me, like it just could be any one of them.
I might as well mention now, when I was a kid, I didn't really latch on to this one, and part of it was the look. But also, we'll get to it when we talk about our history. In Cantonese, Mogwai means devil, demon, or gremlin.
Mm-hmm.
One of the studio notes to director Joe Dante and executive producer Steven Spielberg on seeing the first cut was that there were too many gremlins. Spielberg suggested cutting them all out of the movie and calling it people.
Well, yeah, exactly. yeah. Good on Steven for that one, because you fucking dumbasses.
I really like the fact that most of the stuff I read, you're probably going to bring it up, is that like Steven went to bat for Dante on a bunch of stuff on here, including actually the monologue too. Like the monologue.
Yep.
And
he had seen The Howling and was a big fan. Dante was broke at the time. I took this stuff. I think I took this stuff out of here. Dante was broke after The Howling because the studio went under and never paid him. I think around its release. And so he thought like somebody was pranking him, or he couldn't, like, you know, who knows if that's real. But when he heard that Spielberg was reaching out because he liked The Howling and he wanted him to, was interested in him doing Gremlins, he thought it was a joke.
Shy baby. My little baby Dante.
Chris Columbus' script went through a few drafts before a shooting script was finalized. His original version had the Gremlins killing the dog and cutting off the mom's head and tossing it down the stairs. These elements were never shot due to the fact that director Joe Dante and Warner Brothers wanted to make a more family-oriented movie.
Imagine the R-rated version of Gremlins, dude, where the Gremlins would be like fucking chimpanzees ripping people's dicks off and shit. That would have been dope. Because like the way and we'll get to this later after the movie, but the way I equate the Gremlins' power is different than what we might talk about. So I don't know. But I think, that could have been an interesting aspect or a version of the movie, rather, if the Gremlins would have been just...
It'd be a fun... Like, I don't want to say
psychotically.
Reboot. I guess it would have to be. A fun remake is to take it and go really dark and violent with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go full violence.
But there'd have to be a way to somehow be like, this doesn't count as part of the rest of the universe. You know what I mean?
Well, no, it'd definitely have to be a reboot for sure. It'd be like, this is fucking next level. This is Terrifier Gremlins.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's Art the Clown.
I think
Damien Leone's Gremlins.
I think what's kind of interesting about Damien Leone's Gremlins, oh god.
Dude, yes, I would love that. Oh my god.
I don't know. Part of me, again, obviously I love this movie, but like I feel that having it more family friendly, like when you see the army of Gremlins that come out at the like towards the fourth act, like it's implied that they literally swarmed the entire town.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, in the backdrop, even watching this as a kid, I was like, oh, God, they murdered most of the town. Because, like, everybody.
Kingston Falls is killed.
It's just destroyed.
I was like, do something funny.
Dance, Gremlin, dance.
After watching Tim Burton's earlier short films, executive producer Steven Spielberg considered him to direct this movie. He decided against it, however, because at the time Burton had never directed a full-length movie.
It wouldn't be until Pee-wee's Big Adventure that he would direct one, and Lord have mercy. Look, Joe Dante, I respect that man. I love his movies, the ones I've seen. And I think he was the perfect fit for this because of what it's given me over my lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
But to see a Tim Burton version of this, yes, I would definitely be down in an alternate universe Mandela effect reality to have this version of the movie be in front of my face.
Especially that era Tim Burton.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Do you think that Tim Burton would have survived the puppets? Because like Joe Dante almost didn't. Like, and he was a seasoned director. Could you imagine your first full-length feature film having that many puppets?
Well, it didn't necessarily have to be puppets.
Oh, that's true.
I think I would give it to Tim Burton and say that he could have survived the shoot
Would have done stop motion probably.
Oh, true.
And that would also be welcomed. And I would be surprised if there wasn't a little bit of stop motion in this, but
there's one scene with it. I cut it out.
The army scene.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. So that's what I thought. Yep.
The film. Oh, so this I left in here because I thought Brian would find it fun, but we probably all will. But it's a New York thing. The film opened against Ghostbusters, like they opened the same day, and while Ghostbusters did better in most cities. This is a quote now. In New York City, where people were furious about having their traffic disrupted while Ghostbusters was being made for all those months, it did not. Yeah.
Hell yeah, you fucking mooks. We're going to go watch the fucking Gremlins, huh? We're going to see them little boys terrorizing the whole town.
They hold a grudge.
Bill Murray.
They hold a grudge against the production. Like, fuck that. We ain't watching that.
I love that shit. That's dope.
It's good.
Mushroom is the dog's name. The actor's name,
yes.
Barney Mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
The dog Mushroom when it follows Zach Galligan across the street, so they attach the pair with a monofilament line. Aside from that, director Joe Dante noted that the dog was a joy to work with, a priceless talent of reliability, creating the ideal reaction to particular lines that were perfect to cut to.
Mushroom.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In addition, Mushroom tend to work easily with the Mogwai and Gremlin puppets, moving in sync with them during shooting to produce believable reactions. In the commentary, Joe Dante calls Mushroom the all-purpose cutaway because if Barney is in the scene and Joe doesn't know what to cut to, Mushroom has a priceless facial expression that'll sell it.
Oh, that's perfect. I think there was an interview where Dante literally was like, also that like Mushroom legitimately thought Gizmo was real.
Yeah.
So like there's a bunch of scenes where like he's interacting with it. Like it makes it like some of those scenes that happen in the movie that much more like genuine where I'm like, oh, that's so funny. He just thinks he's this little buddy.
There's a scene where Gizmo, and just no spoilers here, but Gizmo's going by Mushroom. And Mushroom jumps away from Gizmo, and it's so believably awesome the way they captured it on film. And I don't know his acting credits, but Mushroom? I do believe, yes, Mushroom is a Hollywood dog that has been in a bunch of films.
Yes, I cut it out, but I know he's been in at least one other picture. He was Lance Henriksen's dog in Pumpkinhead.
Wow. Okay, there
awesome.
You go.
I like that he's just around all these creatures.
Yeah, dude. He was probably looking at Pumpkinhead like,
what the fuck, man?
Are you my dad?
I was hanging out with this little guy. Now you're a big guy.
After the film's release, I put this in here because I've heard it talked about that Joe Dante liked this movie. It wasn't like his passion project or anything. He kind of made it to, again, he was broke at the time. So he's never, I guess he's wanted other movies of his to be more successful than they were. So I have a quote from him just saying, I still have no idea why this picture was successful. So
that's great.
Wow. Okay, Joe.
I don't think it's like he dislikes it, but it was more of a job than a passion project.
Yeah, I guess the ego is speaking there, but I mean, dude, you made a movie that
yeah, well, I cut all the Gremlins 2 stuff out of here, but they wanted him to do it so bad that he was like, fine, you want me to do it like he satirizes the whole thing, smashes it like it's like making fun of its whole existence in a way.
Yep. He had full creative dude, I love Gremlins 2, and if y'all do it, please consider having me back for that one because I love that movie. And for those reasons too. Like I found that out years later. Like
I really want to revisit it now. We'll talk about it again because we do backgrounds. Chris Wallace, he's the guy who like ran the puppet shop. Suggested they use puppets instead of, or maybe he was a special effect guy. There's so many names in here. Suggested they use puppets instead of the proposed stop motion idea. As a compromise, the studio suggested a spider monkey in a suit, which was tested at director Joe Dante's office. The animal went horrible. Crazy, tearing the office apart and defecating everywhere. Dante screamed at the trainer to get the animal out and then asked Chris Wallace, So puppets.
Dude, what the hell? I knew that was a bad idea from common sense right away.
His office is just full of monkey shit.
You're not gonna have monkeys
puppets?
running around in puppets like in suits.
Dude,
that's ridiculous.
I love hearing stories about, like, it's terrible for the animals. Let me just a little asterisk there.
Yeah.
But just hearing when they try doing live animals with prosthetics was like, wait, Alien 3 was at one point they had a real dog with just an alien helmet on running around.
They sewed a dolphin and a gorilla together and put them in an alien suit.
It was just, stuff like that. And then you see the test footage, because like that one actually has test footage, and you're like, how did this get to this stage? Like, how did anyone
people
okay
are dumb,
this?
Dude. People are dumb.
It sounds terrible.
They don't have common sense.
It's like when they put that animal Jean-Claude Van Damme in the Predator suit.
Really dumb.
It's terrible. Wow.
The only way to make the story believable was if it was completely stylized. Director Joe Dante insisted on shooting it on backlots, creating a small town settling evoking Frank Capra's It's a Wonderful Life. He actually included a clip of that film in the movie.
Mm-hmm. And it totally reads that way, because like the surroundings are very like classic Rockwell 50s style, 40s style kind of thing. But although it does juxtaposition, because like the billboards are all 80s stuff. So like it's weird. It's like got this weird contemporary, but also like ancient kind of, not ancient, but like vintage look to it.
Vintage. Yeah, Americana. Dude. I love that. Yeah. Americana all day.
The educational film shown to the children in school was written and directed by Frank Capra, aforementioned writer and director of It's a Wonderful Life.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's
nice little fun little detail. Amongst others, the voices of the Gremlins were done by Michael Winslow.
What? I thought it was all Howie Mandel.
That was Gizmo.
He did Gizmo.
And
I didn't know that.
So Mogwais were Howie, and then what's his name was all the Gremlins.
I don't know if he did all the Gremlins or not, but he did some according to this. I got that from the trivia, not from the like acting page. According to director, nope, I skipped one. I thought this was just a fun little trivia bit. This is the first. This is the first movie that the Amblin Entertainment logo ever appeared before a movie.
Oh,
that's
cool.
That Steven Spielberg magic.
First on-screen appearance, so I'm guessing it had appeared in print before.
Yes.
According to director Joe Dante and producer Michael Fennell, the original rough cut of this movie ran 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, so apparently, oh God, what's his name? The co-worker from the bank that
Judge Reinhold.
Judge Holden.
So
Judge Reinhold. Yeah.
Apparently he was supposed to play a way bigger part. Like he was like a third wheel that they cut out, which I love the fact that he literally just leaves. That's my ongoing thing with this movie, is that characters will just be ushered through doorways and then you never see them. You just never see them.
I have
they die from the Gremlins' hands.
That, but I'm fine with it. It doesn't really affect how much I enjoy the movie.
I'm gonna really try not to do that the entire
I love that theme, dude. I love it. I'll do it with you every time you do it.
The Mogwai were molded and inspired from the Japanese Chin dog breed.
Mm-hmm.
Hoyt Axton, who portrays Randall Peltzer, was a well-known and successful songwriter as well as a sometimes actor. His most famous hit was the Three Dog Nights' Joy to the World. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. Though
he's got a bunch of albums, by the way.
He's a musician, mostly a musician.
Big time.
Yeah. Though he followed the basic outline of the script, Hoyt is said to have improvised nearly all of his lines. So that's fun.
That kind of makes sense.
Good. Because all the better for it, then I'll say.
Yeah, it works. Gremlins was originally meant to be a parable warning against importing endangered species, but the studio cut this angle because it feared it would alienate moviegoers.
Also, like, what a bizarre...
Very specific.
Very specific, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even get that, but I guess I get it now that you say it, but I never would have got that.
I mean, it's kind of right there in a way, but...
Invasive species, yeah.
I guess so. I just... I've only seen this as a kid and then growing up, and then I just never looked at it that deeply.
Yeah.
I try not to make Yeah.
Oh, it's good for things to mean things. Whatever. The film debuted at number 2 at the box office. The opening weekend competition was Ghostbusters, and it only fell about $1 million short of the top spot. The film had a budget of $11 million. By the end of its initial U.S. theatrical run, that film ended up being a success at the box office, earning $148 million domestically.
Damn!
Fuck yeah.
After adjusting for inflation, this is the second highest grossing film to never reach number 1 at the box office.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
The other one, the number 1 highest grossing movie to never reach number 1 at the box office, was Grease.
Oh.
Wow.
Huh.
Interesting. I thought that would have been a number 1 for sure.
Right? I would have thought Gremlins would have as well. But fucking coming out the same day as Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
What a day.
Yeah. What a year.
Gerald, Judge Reinhold, was originally a much more significant character, but they cut him out of a lot of stuff. Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Ralph Macchio auditioned for the role of Billy Peltzer.
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Zach Galligan, fuck you, Tom Hanks. What the fuck?
Kevin Bacon, Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, but wow.
I just don't know how.
Wild.
I don't know how this movie would read if any of those guys were like lead. You know what I mean?
I think it worked with Hanks,
they all
especially
could have
young
been
Hanks.
good.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm glad it was Zach.
Yeah, and
Fuck
it's
'em.
the theatrical film debut of Zach Galligan. So
Good.
He
Good.
also, God, what was he also in? It was
Gremlins 2.
No, yes, he was in Gremlins too. He was also in. He was in one of the Hellraiser movies.
No,
He has
I
like
don't
he
know.
has
you
a
just
two, he
watched
has a-
them all, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, but I never
I
noticed
think
them.
it's oh god, what? Oh, it's 3. It's 3.
if
He
I
gets
did, I don't
impaled
remember.
into a wall. It's like a 2-second cameo.
Yeah. Yeah, if he did, I don't
Both
remember.
Judge Reinhold and Phoebe Cates were in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. They sure were.
They sure were.
They sure were.
I like it both. Like they're just, it's that weird same dynamic. Well, no, it's not the same. I mean, in Gremlins, she doesn't walk in on him masturbating.
Thinking about her to the cars.
To the cars. Oh my god.
I'm glad that the Gremlins don't have genitals in this movie. I'll just say that.
Oh yeah.
Phoebe Cates
They're
recalls
growers,
hearing
not showers.
Phoebe Cates recalls hearing some studio concerns that after Fast Times at Ridgemont High, she might not be wholesome enough to play Kate. Director Joe Dante had seen the movie and felt that she was, quote, awfully wholesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe Cates is dope, man.
In the original draft of the script, instead of Stripe being a Mogwai who becomes a gremlin, there was no Stripe the Mogwai, and Gizmo was supposed to turn into Stripe the Gremlin. Executive producer Steven Spielberg overruled this plot element because he felt Gizmo was cute, and audience would want him to be present at all stages of the movie.
Which was very accurate.
Yep. When the script was changed to make Gizmo a separate character from Stripe, the studio soon realized that keeping Gizmo a hero of the story allowed him to become a popular focus of the film's merchandising and turn into a handsome profit.
Oh my god,
Hell
totally.
yeah.
I also like that it created an entirely new challenge. You know what I mean? Where you have such a tiny animatronic.
I'll add that. I have that too later. I think that one is in the movie part. Oh yeah, because I only have 3 left. A deleted scene that shows Gerald was hiding out in the bank vault while the Gremlins ran wild and losing his sanity. So that was something that was shot and cut. Pete, the Corey Feldman character, was killed in the early drafts of the script. He would be eaten alive by the Gremlins while a group of Christmas carolers drowned out his screams.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Part of me almost wants that in the movie.
Yep,
because
that would have been dope.
I love me. Okay, don't get me wrong. I love me some Corey. Okay,
sure.
But he's in a lot of movies where he causes a lot of fucking problems, and in this one, he initially causes the problem. He's the one who spills the water first. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's the catalyst for a lot of stuff. It's like that, almost like, or it'd be funny if they drowned him.
Hilarious.
They threw him in the YMCA.
Yeah,
pool.
like an EC Comics twist of fate. Like you got me wet, I'm gonna get you wet now.
Yeah, dude.
Steven Spielberg makes a cameo as the man in the electric wheelchair at the science convention when Randall is on the phone.
Because he's also riding around that thing because he actually broke his leg.
Oh, really?
So like he's got a leg cast. and he's like zooming around. Yeah, that's the whole reason why he's in that cart.
I'm gonna have to look back on that one.
All right. History with this one. I'll start. This one was never big for me. I only went back and revisited it sometime, I guess, in the past, 3 years since the podcast started.
Yeah.
And I really like it now. When I was a kid, I had seen the second one first and fucking loved the second one to death. So when I rented this one, I was like, this is fucking boring. Like, where's all the zany gremlin shit? You know what I mean? So I just didn't watch it that much, especially not compared to Gremlins 2. I watched the shit out of that movie. And I think because of being a kid and the expectations Gremlins 2 set, I think there are many times in my life, had I revisited it, it would have become a more regular movie for me, but it just never happened.
Huh. It's weird. I watched Gremlins as a kid, but I didn't, and Gremlins 2, to be totally honest with you, but it wasn't in our movie collection at my house. If I saw Gremlins, it would be like at a friend's house. So like when I first started like getting an actual like DVD collection, Gremlins was like one of the first ones I picked up. And I have I have a small obsession with Gremlins. I have like a statue. I've got actually one of the first things that was given to me by Thea at FX Warehouse when I first started doing special effects was the main head of Spike as it's like an Ultra Cal 30 basically. So it doesn't have its ears, but it's like its full head. And I remember that's like one of the first special effects copy of a prop that I ever got.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I'll take a photo of it and I'll put it in the Discord.
Nice.
Chibu, I know this is one of your favorites. It's one of the reasons I wanted to invite you on for this one.
Growing up, I had Gizmo pajamas when I was a kid.
Ooh.
This movie was on in the background and in the foreground a lot. I remember thinking, whenever I'd rent Gremlins 2, because I'd rent that one. I had Gremlins on VHS, but I would rent Gremlins 2, and I remember being a young kid, and my mom was driving away from the video store. We were listening to DC Talk.
Mm-hmm. If
If y'all know that band, that's a Christian rock band that my mom was blasting. So I'm like listening to this band, but I've got Gremlins 2 in my lap, and I'm looking at the subtitle, and I was like, the new bitch? That's what I thought it said, the new bitch. And I'm like, that's weird.
It's really weird. That's why were they titled that?
Yeah, but it's the new batch. But I'd watch.
Did you see this new bitch?
You saw this new bitch, bro? The new bitch is a bad bitch. I'd watch these movies, y'all, a lot. And then also the Spielberg magic that I was talking about earlier was just imprinted on me with Goonies and like E.T.
Yeah.
And this felt like, even though so Goonies is another, that's Richard Donner.
Yeah.
But it's a Spielberg movie because Spielberg had that initial thought, and this is the initial thought of Spielberg as well as Gremlins. Even though it's Joe Dante, which he definitely leaves his imprint on as a director, his style, thank God he does. I love that when directors do that. But this is Goonies, E.T., Gremlins. Like, this is in that same camp, the same way I'd put Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Never Ending Story in that same like other camp from the 80s of movies I grew up watching. Like, this is one. Yeah, this is something that I've loved since I was a kid, and I'm glad you guys chose to cover this holiday season because this movie's dope, man. Love it. Great. Well, with all of that said, we'll run our way through the movie here.
Don't do it.
I don't know.
That was good. No, it's okay. You stuck the landing, Sam. It's fine.
Thank you. Film starts with some narration. This is from, we find out Billy's dad. He's an inventor. He's going around Chinatown trying to peddle his wares, his inventions, and maybe grab a Christmas present for his kid while he's down there. A little boy who looks like the boy from Temple of Doom, because he's got like round. That. Yeah, he's got a hat and Yankees jersey. Like he's dressed the same.
There's a lot of like, not Spielberg verse, but like there's a lot of things that tie into other Spielberg stuff.
Totally. Yeah,
totally.
He ends up in this very dingy, sort of mystical sleeping shop.
Yeah, basement shops. That's where it's at. Like you get the weird hangly thing. I like that he was playing with the weird severed arm randomly hanging from the thing.
As soon as you walk in, it's just there to greet you.
Nothing of it.
I like when he tries to start selling his product to the owner of the shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
The look on the grandpa's face while he's doing it is just like
he's just looking. Yeah. He's like, oh, if you need to brush your teeth, just check this out. And he squirts like toothpaste all over his chest. He's like, don't worry about that. That cleans up easily.
I love the sub character of the haphazard inventing father. Like it was such a 80s, early
Randall
90s.
Peltzer, baby.
Yeah. It was that illusion that a guy like that could actually afford a mortgage.
Right.
That I find really.
Yeah. What did the mom do?
It was the 80s, y'all.
That's true.
But it's just, I don't know. It's such a.
The economy was just better than
the traveling salesman type thing, but also like bathroom buddy. Okay, spoiler alert. That's going to be the proper merchandise that I want.
That you want? That's a good one.
I mean, honestly, dozens. We can just give dozens to everybody.
I'll take a gizmo. You can have the bathroom buddy. He does that, gets the toothpaste on him, but this whole time we're kind of hearing strange animal sounds. So he goes to investigate and finds a mogwai. This would be the perfect Christmas gift for his son. But the old man, grandfather, doesn't want to sell the mogwai because it comes with much responsibility. Yeah. And he refuses to sell it to him.
Which is like, which I get, you know what I mean? Like as now a father.
What we know now.
Well, obviously what we know now, but like just as base intelligence, where it's like, wow, this is a weird creature that I've never seen before in a crate in a basement in Chinatown. Let me buy this for my boy. Like
I've got notes on this. I've got notes on this shit.
But it's like, first off, it's like buying someone a live animal is always the worst idea for a gift. But then, like, I don't know. I find it funny because it's just the integrity of the dad, and I guess it's supposed to be like that, like, you know, like, no, it's fine. Like, oh, got it. This is for my son. Don't even worry about it.
Right.
But it's that
we're in spoiler.
Oh yeah,
territory now, right? Yeah. Okay, so when you find something that is completely foreign to anything you've ever heard about, and then once you introduce it to the townfolk of Kingston Falls, and hardly anyone gives a shit about how different this animal is to everything you've ever heard about, and it can actually talk English to you, like it can actually speak back, bro. Like, dude, going through this movie, I'm just like, yeah.
Okay, I guess it's because we were indoctrinated so early on as like kids that like I never questioned, or my suspenders of disbelief were never even tugged at the fact of everyone being so blasé about Gizmo. But then it's really but it's very funny though, because it's that weird, like, it's funny. What is he, a lemur? Like
I think it should stay that way though, based on this movie, because I don't think that I think if you put on too critical of glasses, you're gonna have a bad time.
He's also adorable. So it's not this like it's not this menacing thing. Like he's like humming and cooing.
He'd be the hottest shit in the world. Everybody in town would be like, "Oh my god!"
Oh,
and you, but in the movie at this point, you haven't seen him yet. You've just heard him cooing.
Right.
This amazing coo that haunts my dreams. Not haunts, not bad.
Delights your dreams.
But like
it's like a siren.
It just exists in my head, free of rent. Yes, his little purr is. Guys, I'm gonna tell y'all right up, like straight up, I wanted a Mogwai when I was a kid so bad that I cried.
Aw.
Oh.
I cried that they did not exist.
Well, you
And-
would have fed it after midnight. You know that.
No. When there was I would have followed the rules, Roos. And there was a Furby.
Mhm.
You remember Furby?
Oh, yeah.
Those came out
There
because
was
of
a-
this.
There was a Mogwai Furby. When I saw it, I cried and I wanted to get the Mogwai Furby. And look,
I used to have a
my
gizmo
dad,
around. I don't think I have them anymore.
I never had a gizmo. Dude, I wanted a Mogwai, but I don't want a fake one. I want a real
Right.
one. I want a real one that will talk to me and look through 3D glasses with me and be like, yeah, it's neat. It's neat. I'll be like,
I'm
dude.
gonna be honest with you, gentlemen. I have taunted the fact of like, because they have the life-size replicas of like Gizmo and Stripe and all that other stuff, right? On eBay, the flashing trench coat Gremlin has come up multiple times, and I've had it in my cart. I've literally pulled out my credit card and started punching in the numbers and had to slap my own wrist and go, nay, Ross, you cannot own this. This is too far.
That's fun.
Watch me purchase. Watch me nay.
The grandson, meanwhile, is like, ignore him. We need the money. Meet me outside. I'll sell you the Mogwai.
Yeah,
Mhm.
dude.
That's that black market Mogwai action.
Yeah, this is when he's selling it to him. This is when we learn the three rules: keep him away from bright light, don't let him get wet, and never feed him after midnight. Travis just touched on, don't look at this movie too closely. I think that definitely applies to the three rules.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, because you can't do like if you really do, you're gonna because it comes up for me with the light stuff. Because we're in spoiler territory.
just go
So
for it.
fuck it. Whenever later in the movie, Phoebe Cates' character, Kate is flashing the gremlins with the camera.
Mhm.
Okay, they're like blinded, fine. They go into a movie theater and it's all lit up. We've all been in the movie theater whenever the screen is suddenly too bright and we're like, our eyes are like fighting to adjust and we're like, God damn, movie, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The gremlins would have been immediately evacuated from that shit. They would have been like, oh, yeah.
Well, they were
This
in
is
that
not-
same
this-
bar with the fucking flashing light. It would have. There were all the neon bar lights on and everything. It wasn't like too dark in there.
Oh,
it was dark,
totally.
but that's kind of
Yeah,
movie
but nothing
theater
crazy.
dark.
My biggest plot hole, I guess, is that the entire town is literally coated in frozen water. So, like, not getting them wet is that, like, the second any of these creatures would have gone out, their body heat would have melted the snow on their bodies,
Yep.
immediately getting them wet. Like, this would have been like 1 to 10 billion.
That's a great example towards what I'm trying to say is like, for this movie, you got certain rules.
Strap those suspenders
and blah, blah,
on.
blah.
Right
No, but
along.
again,
Yeah,
This-
you
but-
gotta let it
Yeah.
go
all
for
this
this
shit
movie.
plays into the fact that it feels surreal.
I was gonna
So,
say,
like,
I think that stylization allows all
That's-
this to happen. Like,
this literally
it's fine.
like it glues my suspenders of disbelief permanently on me
'Cause
the
y'all-
entire
your
movie.
ears.
I was
Yes.
watching this really critically, this last watch, like really critically, like how much do I love this fucking movie? Because like Sam said, he invited me on here because he knew this was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
So I was really trying to watch this and be critical. And I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna be, it's not gonna work.
Yep.
It's not gonna work.
No.
You have to let it just tell the story.
Mhm.
It's one of those movies. You just got to go for the ride and chill out.
Yeah. Love it for its flaws too. It's okay. Just
Yeah.
don't think about it.
Just don't- just-
Because if you do,
Christmas. It's Christmas time.
La,
Delightful
la,
small
la,
town
la,
Christmas
la, la, la,
opening.
la.
We got kids playing.
This is-
Sheriff wants a tree for free. Yeah, go ahead.
this is my favorite Christmas song of all time because of this movie. Darlene Loves Christmas. I love this song because of this movie, how it opens up and you get Rockin' Ricky Rialto.
Mhm.
Rockin'
And-
Ricky.
and-
Looking like Indiana
Yeah,
Jones.
dude.
Yes.
Yes.
Another
There's a
Spielberg.
lot of nods in this movie. Yep. There's a lot of nods.
I also love the fact that they completely glaze over the fact that nobody's breath is showing because they filmed this in the dead of summer and all of the stuff, all the fake snow and shit like that. Again, it adds to the surrealness of it because, like, if it's that cold, everybody's breath should be showing. Nobody's breath.
I never
is showing.
noticed that.
I never thought about it.
I never thought about that. I was so sucked into the story, Ross, I'll be honest. Every time until you just said it, even on this last watch, I never noticed.
Right.
But this is my favorite Christmas song of all time because of this movie. And I do feel like this opening sets up the town, gives us a visual of the town, and Billy's going to work and all. Like, I love all of this. I love this.
The kids playing snowball in the middle of town, like square, picking up Christmas trees. You know,
this is when we get that town square shot where I was like, that looks like I can't think of the name of the town right now for some reason. What's the clock
from
tower?
Back to the Future?
But it looks like
Clock Tower Town.
Yeah. So Zach Galligan, Billy, trying to get his car to start, but it won't start. His neighbor offers help. Hates foreign cars, foreign parts. Kind of goes on that for a little bit. But Billy needs to go to work, so he's gonna walk. Yeah.
It's really funny how, like, they do the 1950s like aesthetic, but then also like the 1950s weirdness, like the greed aspect of it, and then also like the dude who hates everything foreign.
Well, I feel like that's an 80s thing too. Like,
it is an 80s thing.
Back to the Future, there are also jokes about things being foreign made. I remember that. But it's guys from that era. It's the older, you know what I mean? He's like, he's older than a boomer, but that's kind of the generational divide here. This is like he hasn't caught up with the times.
Everything foreign is like not going to work as good because he's all like USA.
Yeah, he
USA.
fought in WW2, the big one.
The big one.
The big one.
So Billy decides to walk. He makes it to his job just in time. And Katie asks him to sign a petition to make Donnie's what is it? Not Donnie's Tavern. Dory's Tavern. Landmark so that Mrs. Deagle won't shut it down. Apparently, and all the parents in town propose to each other at this tavern.
Scrooge fucking McDuck herself.
Yeah.
Bro.
Scrooge /
this lady,
fucking Mrs. Gulch.
She is the Wicked Witch of the West, and she walks all the way down to the bank holding a ceramic fucking snowball head from her snowman just to prove a point, which doesn't even like, dude, it's a dog. Like, chill out, chick. She goes over there and goes in Billy's face and like, she's like, I'm gonna kill your dog. It's basically what she says
at his place of work
in front of everyone.
In front of everyone.
What I'm supposed to understand in this movie is that Mrs. Deagle also owns the bank.
I don't think she owns the bank. She's a real. She might own the property the bank is on or something. But she's such an important client that.
Yes, also that. But I think I really do, because the lady outside this scene.
But she has the power to fire him.
True.
But I think
if she
it's
owned
a grudge. It's a grudge. It's a grudge, because whenever she's gonna go inside with that snowball head, the snowman head, ceramic one, and there's this lady outside with her 2 kids, and she's like, my husband got hurt recently, and I'm out of work. Can you get the bank to? But I think she has ties to the bank.
She's a piece of shit.
She's like, can you get the bank to give us a little bit more time? And she's like, me and the bank have one purpose in life, and that's to make money. And it's like,
I thought she asked them for a little more time.
I think
she is the bank. She's actually just a living bank.
I hear you, Sam, but I really do. I don't think it's spelled out in the movie. That's why we might have this slight discrepancy. But I feel like Mrs. Deagle and her stockbroker husband, you get this little part later where it's revealed that her husband was in a stockbroker guy that got caught for doing something and something. Donald Deagle, appropriate. I feel like she actually did have a stake in that bank. That's just my vibe. Sure. I just feel like she kind of partly at least owns that bank, and that's why people are turning to her.
She got a finger in that pie.
Mm-hmm. As a lady of the town, someone they can ask for.
I just thought she had so much money in the bank that essentially you do have a stake in the bank.
I agree. That could also be it too.
Well,
it could.
I also like the fact that she's so full of shit. Even the dog was over it, and then just Mushroom just decides to jump up and just clear the air.
Fuck yeah, because she's after that Mushroom, that pretty baby boy that would, you know what, if he knocked over.
Does the dog get cuter every time you watch it? Because it does for me.
Every time. If he knocked over your little fucking stupid snowman, okay, it's a dog, man. What are you gonna do?
Kill it.
It's not like he was fucking biting children's necks,
right?
Like, what the hell?
Just attacks old ladies sometimes. Get over it.
She's like, I could think of a way to kill your dog. I'm gonna put him in the dryer on slow heat.
That's
and
like
this one guy turns around. He's like, "Oh, it's crazy." And the one guy turns around. He's like, "That'll do it." I'm like,
"What?" Yeah.
What? That's definitely a way to kill a dog. It's like,
he's like, who asked Jethro over here?
Like, what the fuck is that, dude?
But Barney does fucking rise up from the ashes, and he's like, fuck this old lady, bro. I'm on gremlin mode.
Knocks the head off, and, essentially the scene just kind of ends with them yelling at each other. Now Billy's at the pubs, sketching her, Miss Deagle, as a dragon, because there's this very, very small, character arc to him that he wants to be a cartoonist, I guess.
Yes.
Well, it's I wouldn't say it's
there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's small, but it's there.
It's goes
important
away.
To his character.
Is it shit?
Yeah,
I forget
it goes
where
away.
it is during the movie, but doesn't he sit next to a guy that is the cartoonist,
Chuck
and he's the
Jones.
first guy who did Gremlins for Walt Disney?
I don't know that, but Chuck Jones was a very famous.
Okay, I don't know either. Was Chuck Jones in the movie?
Yes, he shows him the dragon sketch.
There it is.
And he's like, "What do you think?" And he looks good or whatever.
Oh, that's him then.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah, that's it. And then I will say, later in the movie, you got Pete and Billy talking about buying comics, and where I got it at Dr. Fantasies, and it's the Hooded Menace #1. I feel like it's very ingrained into his character that he wants to be an artist. And then when you get to part 2, which I know we're not talking about that, but for this movie, I feel like that's enough that I'm like, yep, he's got bigger aspirations than working at a fucking bank owned by some lady, in my headcanon, owned by some lady that wants to kill his dog. Yeah.
Billy.
Disgraceful.
Oh, so this one Judge Reinhold comes in and is a dick, and Kate is working at the pub simply to help out. They need more help. She's essentially volunteering.
Yeah, Kate's there doing overnight shit, and Judge Reinhold right here. I recognize this actor.
New apartment?
Yeah.
I've never seen your old apartment.
Yeah,
dude. He is such a. He's like, Billy, I'd have fired you in a second. You got to grow up, man. You got to fucking survive. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm like, shut up, you douchebag.
You just did so much cocaine before coming into this bar. Stop yelling at me with your.
He follows him from the bar to the table. No one asked you to accompany me. Get the fuck out of here.
He clearly just walked away from him.
Yes,
dude. Exactly. I'd have told that dude, hey, bro, you need to get the fuck out of here right now. Literally get out of my face. This dude sucks, but he sucks in the best way. He's a great asshole character, and I like Judge Reinhold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know again, I think creatively, I think it was the best decision to cut him, just have him literally walk out a door and never be seen again. Because I don't know how the buddy aspect of his character if he was third wheeling it for the. I don't know if they would probably irreparably change how I thought about this movie.
They definitely made a really good decision by cutting this down from 240 to 146.
Yeah.
A whole hour.
But you do see him a little bit later in the movie for like one scene. I don't remember what it is, but you do see him.
Yeah.
But he's out of here at this point.
Yeah. Billy comes home and helps his mom with dinner. Egg invention isn't working.
all these fucking idiotic,
all these American-made things that he has.
They're just pieces of shit.
Yeah.
But I like Lynn. It's Lynn Peltzer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like, oh, your dad's inventions. They work for like a week and then they go on the fritz. And this is, dude, this is the dopest part. Go ahead.
Oh, well, this is also the worst version of Pee-wee's Rudberg breakfast machine I've ever seen. Because we were talking, because it's just like all this stuff in the kitchen. You're like, no, Pee-wee did it better.
Oh, Pee-wee did it. Oh my God. And he barely ate it. He barely ate his own breakfast. And I'm like, fuck you, Pee-wee Herman. I would eat the shit out of them Mr. T eggs.
Billy comes home. Oh, I said that. Dad comes home and gives Billy his mogwai.
Ooh.
He's like, he comes in the door. He's like, fa la 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 la. Like he's all sick. Dude, I love this interaction. And this is where it gets to that family aspect.
Yeah.
Because Billy and mom or Lynn are so happy that dad is home. They go see him right at the door. They all love each other. There's no bad blood. Everyone loves each other. I like the wholesomeness of this. Scotty, you hearing me? I love the wholesomeness of this. And dad does give him, he's like, he gives him this ancient box.
Here you go, son.
Yeah.
Bro, you get a jump scare right here.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. Gizmo is like barely out the box and he pops up. Yeah.
So much so that they had to legitimately hold the dog back. Like Mushroom had to be physically held back during the scene when he does the pop-up.
Right. That's dope. And then Gizmo and the music, y'all, the music cue, and then Gizmo comes out the box and you see the puppet.
That's Coldplay, right? He's humming Coldplay.
I hope so. I hope he's humming Chris Martin all day. But also, I want to point out that Gizmo immediately calls Barney a woof woof.
Oh yeah, so he's met dogs before.
Yeah,
he's met dogs before, and he says woof woof, like he knows what the dog is.
Also speaking English, or kind of
English.
Yeah, but I think that also is the amazing thing about just the open-ended question of like, what is a mogwai? I mean, obviously a gremlin, it's kind of self-explanatory, but like these mogwais are kind of introduced as these very innocuous kind of like, I don't know. It's like, how old is Gizmo?
I think Gizmo is very old. And I think that he has been around a lot of people in and out that shop in Chinatown in New York. But I also think that there is an intelligence level that is not fully given to both Gizmo and the Gremlins, because we'll get into it as we go through the movie. But that one poster card I wanted to read, it's for a reason, because I think these creatures are very intelligent. They're stupid and they're zany, but I think they're very highly intelligent. Beyond even their zaniness almost interferes with how smart they really are. But yeah, sorry, Sam. You get Gizmo coming out the box here, and by the way, every Mogwai comes with their very own ancient Chinese box.
That's a cool box.
They get to come out of.
It's a cool box.
It is very cool.
This what Billy learns the rules here. You know, that don't put them in sunlight; it'll kill them. Feed them after midnight. Don't get wet. Don't wash them.
Very important rules.
Yep. He takes him up to his room and they play keyboard together. And
I love this scene, Sam. I gotta tell y'all, like on a rewatch, so Gizmo is humming. So Billy is playing a note. Gizmo will hum it.
And he's trying to match it. Yeah.
And then when Gizmo hums his thing, his own original song that he sings since the beginning. Billy tries to play it on the keyboard and he gets the last note wrong, and then Gizmo presses
Corrects
the
it,
right
yeah.
note. Yeah. I love that so much. Oh my
Again,
God.
like this is the family friendly aspect where it is so fucking wholesome and so goddamn adorable.
Mhm.
And I think the creative decision to keep Gizmo throughout the entire film works in the fact that like Gizmo is the outlier. Is that every other Mogwai that we see in this movie
They suck.
are inherently mischievous and kind of shitty. And like Gizmo is, to our knowledge, the only one that is like a decent Mogwai.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Agree. And
it's like you need your base Mogwai, and then whatever replicates from them is bad news. But like
bad news.
the Mogwais that reproduce however they normally reproduce have those Mogwais are okay. It's when they get wet that you get the danger.
I like how they. It's good. We're not talking about it. I like how they introduce like really derpy ones in 2, where it's like almost like it's almost like apple genetics, where it's like you have an apple seed, and then from like any one, but it's a genetic mix-up. So 9 out of 10, it's going to be a crab apple. You know what I mean? Where it's like that. I like
the mob boss and the goon in part 2. But in this movie, I want to say real quick, this scene gave me goosebumps, the frissons, as we say on the nightclub. But this scene, and also when Kate and Billy were at the bank and the music cues, it's all the music cues, you guys. I got goosebumps watching the Gizmo scene with Billy with the keyboard. And then earlier in the bank, whenever Kate and Billy were talking, like that just was some kind of childhood
cute
deepness.
Deep nostalgia.
Very much so. Very much so.
Gizmo falls and hits his head, but Billy fixes him up and they go to sleep.
Yeah, within having Gizmo for one night, he's already got my boy fucking got concussions and shit.
Concussed.
It's morning and Billy is struggling with his dad's juicer. He's hesitant to use it. Seems like it's going to work, but it does not.
He's got high anxiety. He's over there. He's looking at it. And I remember this from a kid because I love the oranges planted around the juicer itself. Yep. That was always something I looked at and was like, that's cool. And he's looking at that juicer and he's like, he takes a deep breath. He's like, oh. And then I want y'all to look for this when y'all watch this movie again one day. Look at Zach Gilligan. Look at his face whenever the juice starts exploding. He's smiling the whole time. I've always noticed that, and I noticed it again on this watch, and I'm like, yeah, he just, it was a fun scene to shoot.
First movie, he couldn't help it.
Yeah, dude, it's dope. He's like Jimmy Kimmel.
Tree Boy comes with a tree delivery, and it's Corey Feldman.
Hey,
it's Corey before he was famous. He was delivering Christmas trees. Oh.
IMDb behind the scenes got 2 of them back to back. Corey Feldman was added to this movie when Steven Spielberg dropped his character from E.T. In both stories, he is the best friend of the boy who has the creature.
That's really funny. Then he drops him from ET. He goes, listen, okay, I'm really sorry about the ET thing. We got this other creature thing that we're doing. You want to be in it?
And hell yeah.
And then
that makes so much sense and so little sense to me, because when you see the age difference between
listen to this. The reason Billy hangs out with a 13-year-old is because Corey Feldman was cast before Billy was aged up. So Billy was supposed to be younger, and that was one thing on this watch that I really noticed is like, how old is he supposed to be? Because the way the dad talks about him in the beginning, you think he's going to be a kid, but then he looks like maybe he's in high school, but then he's a bank teller, but he's also friends with a school teacher, and he
hangs out at a bar.
But then when he talks to like the cops, hangs out at a bar, but then the cops talk to him like he's child. It's all
his age. His age is very ambiguous. Like you don't know.
And sometimes even he himself acts almost like a young kid. Like a kid.
Yeah.
Look, I'll look at this like Mamu. I think Billy is like 20. He's not old enough to drink, but in Mamu you can get into the bar
Mm-hmm.
He's past high school, but he's still friends with his high school teachers, which some of us are.
Yeah.
Mr. Kidder, shout out to you. I think Billy in this movie, in my headcanon, is like a 20-year-old. He's not legal yet to drink, but my boy is still part of the town minutia, like he's still all ingrained in the town.
Right.
And not to get caught up in that, but the Pete character, I like Corey Feldman as this character. And he goes up and sees Gizmo. And this is why I told y'all it was neat to be on Chuddle again, because neat gets said a lot in these next few scenes, man.
Well, it's also just like how no one freaks out over it. Like they're all awestruck by Gizmo, but nobody is like freaked out.
That's what I was.
Or even when
these fur balls pop off them in a second. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Gizmo's really into watching the racing movie on TV. Billy shows Pete Gizmo, and he promptly spills water on him.
Oh my God.
Like, can I touch him? Yeah, sure.
And you get one of the best parts of the movie right here, where Gizmo is like popping off babies.
Dude, fucking talk about like fuzzy, like little Pomeranian body horror. Like this is like like chrome. It's like, oh God, this is like some David Cronenberg shit where you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? Even as a kid, I was appalled. I was like, what is this?
I was horrified too.
Yeah.
And dude, once that you have the whole ensemble,
the sounds of them popping off is so gross. It's so hilarious.
And they're all building up, and then all of a sudden you see depressed Gizmo Daddy.
Yeah, Gizmo is bummed by it.
Yeah.
Oh, he knows it's all fucked up now.
Well, he just gave birth to a litter.
Right.
Oh, he's bushwhacked.
Evil little creatures.
He's bushwhacked and very upset about it. Because to be totally honest with you, if we really want to look at it, that water was non-consensual.
Absolutely.
And yes,
but it was accidental.
It was accidental, but still.
Now coming up, we have some definite non-consensual forced water.
Forced water.
But I like also how Billy's like, "Hey, Pete, isn't this like amazingly amazing? An animal you've never even heard of before got water spilled on it and then budded
and then fucking multiplied. Like shit like shoots off of it." Oh, I also like the fact that it's a little weird that isn't the coloring of Gizmo supposed to be the same coloring as one of Steven Spielberg's dogs?
He had them do the sort of eye patch thing because of one of his dogs. Yeah.
What I like about how the scene ends is that fucking right after Pete tries to like be affectionate towards one of the new Mogwai, it snaps at him, and then he's immediately like, "I'm done." He runs to the bed, looks at a comic through a 3D glasses, and Billy's like, "Isn't this awesome?" He's like, "Yeah, it's neat." He's like, "No, I'm serious. It's neat."
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Non-plus.
You just saw some kind of crazy thing you've never even.
It is insane.
Imagined. Could be real.
The lack.
Exactly. It's crazy.
It's insane the lack of concern when the family finds this pack of Mogwais now. Like,
yeah, so Billy goes to his dad. We get some invention silliness, and he tells him that the Mogwais multiply with water.
Yes.
Oh,
and then
dude, and the dad's like,
not being freaked out, is thinking this is a licensing gold pot. Like,
yeah, it's the Peltzer pet, dude.
So
it's
smart.
It's the Peltzer pet. He's like, this could replace the family dog.
Barney's like, ooh?
Yeah, Marshmallow's like, what are you talking about,
mushroom?
Bro? It is Barney, but yeah, mushroom. I took notes on this. I'm sorry if I'm doing too much. Whenever Randall Peltzer wants to replace the family dog, and you see Gizmo over there, because I like this scene where you look down on all the Mogwai from the staircase of Billy and Randall, father and son, and you see Gizmo off in the corner playing his little xylophone thing,
mm-hmm.
and then all the other Mogwai, because they're all cute right now, but they're all wild too,
mm-hmm.
and they're all off in their own corner, and even Billy's like, that one that has a stripe, and by a stripe we mean
A mohawk.
he's got like a mohawk.
Yeah.
Billy says he seems to be their leader, but they're different than Gizmo. And then they spit on Gizmo, and I'm like, immediately,
and
why
like,
are y'all
it's
not
a
like
loogie. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is. That's thick. Like it's thick.
I'm like, why are y'all not like alarmed by that these other ones are bullying
Also,
their daddy?
Question. I'm assuming that saliva doesn't work, right? Because that loogie, wouldn't that have sparked another multiplication?
Well, it looked more like caramel, to be honest.
It's gross.
It was
That's
gross.
how the Mogwai actually died off. They were milked for their caramel.
Dude, that was some Chuddle goo right there flying across the screen.
This movie is full of goo.
Yeah, dude.
Billy and all the Mogwais are asleep now when Billy awakes to his dog whining. He's just going around looking for Barney. Finds him outside tied up in the Christmas lights.
Dude, the look on that dog's face is so bummed out.
Yeah, I'd be bummed too.
I hope he was a puppet dog because, but I do like this scene, Sam, real quick, where right after they get Barney down from the Christmas lights, the whole family, mom, dad, and son, is right there in the kitchen like it was like 2 a.m. Because
oh, you think that's when it is? I thought that was the next day.
No, because Billy's still drying off Barney with a towel. So I feel like they all woke up in the middle of the night to come experience this as a family.
Sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's when Dad's like, hey, don't worry. I got this inventors convention to go to. I'm going to take Barney up with me, and he's going to go hang out with your grandparents. And then on Christmas Eve, I'll bring Barney back. So he'll be home for Christmas. And that
Billy
also
thinks
gets
Mrs. Deagle did it because of all the threats she made about the dog.
Which I would too, because she's making insane threats about slow heating your dog in a dryer in front of the whole town. Fuck Mrs. Deagle, man.
She's
Oh, I love her, but fuck her.
Billy now takes at this time on my notes because I forgot who the character was. I said Billy takes a Mogwai to a scientist, I guess, and drops.
It's the high
school teacher.
Yeah. Which you see that he's like walking into
who's
a school
very
building.
okay with animal testing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So he takes him to him and is like, check this out. Drops a little water on his head, and we get where are my notes? The
Mogwai. I like the Mogwais.
Pops off.
They're beating against the cardboard box, and they're like talking to each other in Mogwai language. They're like, "Hey, I'm over here. Hey, you're over there." It's so cute.
Hello.
Yeah, basically.
Oh wait, no.
It's man.
Oh, it multiplies. Teacher friend asked to keep one to study. He lets him do it. Billy meets Kate at the pub as she's locking up. The neighbor is there drunk, still complaining about foreign parts.
That's Mr. Futterman on the sauce, dude.
I feel
he starts going into the Gremlins, being part of the machinery.
In the machines and things.
That's part of good old WWII.
All right. Just real quick, back to I just called it like Rabbit Cage Mogwai. Does that one seem? I mean, it seems
Earl is that one's name.
Earl.
Yeah.
Oh, Earl. Yeah. It does. To me, Earl seems only like a quarter bad. As in, like, if he had a little more TLC, he probably could have been a little more Gizmo than the rest of them. But I don't know.
It's hard to say because he was
immediately
the whole
stabbed.
Time.
I didn't know he had a name.
It may have been from the novelization. There was a lot of IMDb trivia from the novelization.
I'm glad you brought up the novelization because I was going to bring that up later in my final thoughts. But yes, because of how much this legacy this movie has. But yeah, I didn't know that also because I never read the novel. But that's dope that it's Earl.
Yeah,
Earl the Mogwai. It's my name is Earl the Mogwai. Jason Lee's like, I'm gonna evolve into a lot of nasty critters tonight.
Don't get me wet. So he's complaining about foreign parts again. Gremlins take down machinery. WWII. It's trying to start is that like a snowplow?
It's a snowplow, yeah.
Yeah. But Kate suggests he walks home and he takes her advice.
I like this scene because Billy's like, that's really good the way you handled Mr. Futterman. And she's like, well, ever since he lost his job, he's been down here and he just wants someone to listen to him. And that's key in America today. People just want people to listen sometimes, man.
Please
and then,
listen to my rants.
Just listen to people. And then this further, like going back home, Kate is talking about Christmas and you see these carolers. And I gotta say, y'all, I've never been caroled before.
Me neither.
I've never had carolers come to my door and like, I would love that, to be honest.
Let me ask you this. What if it's like 2 a.m? What time does this tavern close? Why are there carolers out now?
I don't know. Sam, if it's 2 a.m, I'll probably be perturbed. But if it's like 10 o'clock at night,
No.
I would love.
That's too late too.
Yeah.
I would honestly love that though. I've never had that, so I don't know what that experience is like. But
We never got them personally because I lived on the part in New Jersey where I was at. Like each house was like a few acres away from each other. But once you got across the street into more of like a burb section, there were carolers that actually went from like door to door growing up, which was super fun. But they usually stopped everything by like 9 or 10 at the latest because half the carolers were kids.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that
And
seems late.
I would just like to experience a
Yeah, it
random
would be
knock at the
nice.
door, and then I open the door and people are just singing to me. I'd be like, wow, like
Sing to me.
I would be all about it. But this scene is cool because Kate, I say cool, but like it's a good scene in the movie is what I mean.
This is when we find out she hates Christmas.
She hates Christmas, and Billy's like, what are you, Hindu or something? And she's like, oh my God, you say you hate like George Washington Day or this day and everyone's cool, but if you say you hate Christmas, everyone treats you like a leper. And Billy's like, well, I'm sorry, like I didn't, and he didn't know what he was stepping into because we don't find out till later. And when we find out, oh my Lord.
Mhm.
But
This is when he asks her on a date as well.
and he's a smiling fuck.
She smiles too, though. After,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
cute.
sure. But when he's like, oh yeah, you'd like that. I'm like, yeah, Billy. Billy is so like shy but she is too about how they're budding their relationship. I love this scene.
Next up, we have scientist draws blood from Mogwai. Now we got Billy's box of Mogwais. They're freaking out while he's eating, but he sees it's not midnight yet, so he goes and gets them a plate of wings.
Sorry, Sam. I gotta back it up a second.
Yeah.
During the scene where Kate's talking to Billy about Christmas, she says, while everyone's opening up their presents, some people
Are opening up their wrists.
That line I wrote down specifically because I was like, wow, that's
So
in my opinion,
it's so fucking dark.
Very.
it's dark and it's deep. And it
But I
means a
think
lot.
it's an important issue to raise as well.
Yeah.
During the holidays, y'all, you might have friends that don't do family stuff or whatever, but like reach out to your friends that ain't got much going on because it's sometimes that time of year
A
is
little bit of
particularly
connection.
dark,
Yeah.
and it could help. It could help a lot.
Mhm.
I do like that line, and I didn't mean to cut you off there.
It's fine. So they give
but
him
yeah.
the wings. Scientist leaves food in the lab. It's clearly after midnight, and the Mogwai steals the food. Back at Billy's, we see that his clock is actually stopped. Oh no.
Oh, damn it.
Billy and Gizmo fall asleep. Oh, also when the Mogwais are tearing apart the chicken wings, that is gross.
It's dope, and also before that, they have the pod people on TV that
Invasion
are
of
like
the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
the OG, and they got
Mhm.
the pod people like breaking out their shells and shit, and like this movie uses a lot of the old school horror movies. Because also, like, towards the beginning, well, this ain't a horror movie, but like they had the It's a Perfect Life or
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life on TV. And the guy,
It's a perfectly wonderful life.
the guy running through the streets sounds like Gilbert Gottfried yelling, and everyone's like, "Hello, everybody." I can't do a good Gilbert Gottfried, but he sounds like Gilbert Gottfried to me. And he's like, "Hello, movie theater." Like,
I love y'all.
but this movie does do that too, where it pays not, and we skipped over that, where Gizmo was. Well, no, Sam, I think you did say it, was watching the race car.
movie.
Yeah.
I didn't include the name. It's a Clark Gable movie. It was in the trivia. I cut it.
But it's
so
important
much.
to the movie to a certain small degree.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Yeah.
Which then happens again with Rambo in
So-
the second one.
Would
Yeah.
So I got a question for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Would you not immediately set fire to the cocoons the second you saw the cocoons? Because I feel at that point I probably either would have isolated them somewhere,
I
or I
would
would've set-
probably
I-
would have got cages or something.
or
yeah.
set them on fire. Because
I wouldn't have set them on fire. I would have been too curious, but I hopefully would have had the foresight to get a kennel.
yeah.
I wouldn't have set them on fire either, but I would have also been like, Sam, like, I'm curious as to what this is, but
I've seen the
cautious.
thing too many times. My immediate thing goes, well, that looks weird. We should set it on fire.
But you can't set your house on fire, right?
Oh, I would. I mean, first you're gonna kind of pick it up
You
with
can.
with a shovel, and then you kind of pop that cocoon right off.
Shovel them out to the yard and
Yeah.
then burn them.
Yeah.
Or you
Okay.
could just squish them. I mean, at this point.
Oh
right?
yeah, maybe. I don't know. What is the
Just
inside
stomp
of a
the
gremlin
fucking
cocoon
hatches.
like? You know what I mean? Is it just goo? Oh yeah, that's actually a really good point. Is it like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, where it just liquefies and then kind of like turns
Well,
into?
that's what Dr. Roy says. He calls it the pupal stage. He says this is a metamorphosis, and I'm like, hell yes,
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, dude.
Billy and Gizmo fall asleep. Next morning, the Mogwai are cocooned in gross green eggs. Now,
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. One more
Yeah.
thing I wanted to point out during the scene where Billy goes to get the Mogwai chicken wings. You see a smiley face sticker on the fridge.
okay.
That's a nod to Joe Dante's The Howling, because the killer in The Howling
Oh,
would leave
Eddie's-
smiley face stickers
yeah.
everywhere. Yep. Sorry, just wanted to point that out.
No, great. Now Billy and Pete are talking to the teacher friend about the cocoon. This is where the pupil stage and all that stuff, the metamorphosis. And the dad's at his inventor convention on Christmas Eve. You know, he'll try to make it back.
And he's like, I love the line where he's like, the competition is a little bit more advanced than I thought.
Yeah.
It's like Robbie
damn.
the robot. The
So this is
actual
a
time
great
machine in the
one I
background.
didn't notice that I love. IMDb behind the scene. In the first scene where Billy's dad is at the Invention Expo, there is a time machine from the time machine in the background. When the scene cuts back to him a few seconds later, it has vanished, indicating it time traveled.
Whoa, nice.
I fucking love that, dude.
That makes it so much better.
Yeah. Mrs. Deagle is back at the bank threatening Billy's dog again. This
Oh my
lady's
God,
obsessed
yeah,
with
she
killing his
is.
dog. The cocoons start opening. One,
The heartbeat scene, Sam. So,
with
like,
coming in on the box in the class.
if
with
I
the
just,
movie
yeah,
plan,
like,
the
I
Frank
love-
Capra movie, apparently.
they're saying the heartbeat of a small animal is this, the heartbeat of a man is this, the heartbeat of an elephant is this. Then the heartbeat grows louder and louder, and then it goes to the box of the gremlin, the metamorphosis of the Mogwai, and then it bounces off the fucking table, and then class ends, and he's like ushering all the students out so fast. But dude, as a kid, that scene gave me anxiety so bad because of the heart beating, and I love that scene. I just wanted to
Interesting,
point
yeah.
that out. I love that
It's
scene.
also because, like, I don't know. It's because as a kid, like the watching a video in the dark in your school thing, and then like the irrational fear of monsters anyways, it hit home for me because I'm like, oh God, oh man, what if my science teacher had something super crazy in the back and it just got loose? But I didn't know because I'm watching some just boring fucking video.
I never even thought of that, dude. That's an extra level of it, dude.
The teacher calls Billy, who heads over, but in the meantime feeds the new creature a candy bar. Oh,
hungry. Why wait?
Yeah, the teacher is now looking around. We don't see a gremlin yet. He doesn't know what it is. Gets a candy bar and is trying to lure it out from under a desk, but he gets attacked. When Billy arrives, he finds the teacher dead. Billy hides in like a nurse's station or something.
He goes to wrap his hand because when he goes to reach for the phone and he gets scratched by the gremlin. So then after the gremlin, and this is when I'm going to talk about their strength. This gremlin ripped open metal. He didn't unscrew it. He ripped open metal and fucking ran through the vents to go somewhere else. Billy then goes, like, he leaves the classroom and he sees the nurse's station. So he's like, I got to wrap my hand in a bandage. He wraps it. And then you see the gremlin pop out of the cabinet. And that's the first full gremlin shot you see in this movie. And Billy goes to the other side of the room and the gremlin's throwing shit at him. And while he does so, he rips open another fucking metal vent and goes into some other ventilation system in the school. It's such a great scene, man. Like, this is
Here's a quick IMDb behind the scene. Mr. Hansen, Glenn Turner, the science teacher, originally died with dozens of hypodermic needles stuck in his face. However, by request of Steven Spielberg, this scene was reshot with just a single needle in the buttocks.
And that works because all you need is one single syringe of air to fuck you. And that's true. Dude, I also like that this gremlin tried to eat the apple and was like, spit it out. And he also tried to eat like a glass vial and was like, and he's making, dude, the gremlins talk throughout this whole time, by the way. They talk. They say words. They say shit. And that's fucking dope. Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the gremlins are at home are fucking with Gizmo when Billy's mom decides to see what the fuss is about.
Mm-hmm.
Billy calls to warn her and tells her to get out of the house when the line is cut.
This is part of their intelligence where, and this is also a nod to another Steven
what a
Spielberg.
phone line is and cut it.
Yep. And this is also a nod to a Steven Spielberg movie because the gremlin says, phone home, caca.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls the line. That's E.T. directly.
Right.
And this, y'all, this is Lynn fucking Peltzer being goddamn Rambo.
Yeah, before she starts doing her thing, I got a quick IMDb behind the scene. Mm-hmm. The Gizmo puppets were particularly frustrating because they were smaller and thus broke down more. Consequently, to satisfy the crew, a scene was included in which the gremlins hang Gizmo on a wall and throw darts at him. This was included on a list that the crew created known to them as, quote, horrible things to do to Gizmo list.
Poor Gizmo.
I love that. Well, I think it also, like, man, there was also things I read that, like, he would break down all the time, and it would be like hours and hours and hours between takes because of him. If one thing broke down, it would take like 7 to 8 hours to fix this animatronic. So, like, a lot of the casting, like, crew hated Gizmo by the end of this.
Damn, Gizmo hate. No way.
So we get Lynn creeping around the house. She's smart enough to be like, those egg things were weird. I'm going to grab a knife before I go upstairs.
Right?
Do you hear what I
that she hears
hear?
stuff downstairs. Yeah. Music comes on. Comes downstairs. Something's thrown at her, like a glass or something. And she finds a gremlin in the kitchen. It peeks into one of the inventions. Is it the juicer? And she blends them in it.
It's like something. It's not the juicer, but it is something. And then, yes, this is when I was a kid. I was like, holy shit, this movie's on some other level because this lady, and still to this day, this is dope, man. She does go in there. Like, the gremlin is eating gingerbread men. and he kind of hears her, so he looks over, but she hides, and he's like, yum, yum, because he's eating the fucking gingerbread man. Then he goes into that.
Is this the one where his ear cocks up, where he hears her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. To this day, that still creeps me out. And I know it's a fucking puppet. Like, I don't know. It's that weird, like,
he goes into that vat of what I would imagine is probably like cookie dough and everything else. And then she turns it on. Gremlin guts go flying. And then this other gremlin is like throwing plates at her. And she fucking takes the knife and stabs him to death.
Yep.
To death. And then there's this other gremlin that pops out of nowhere, and she sprays him in the face with like cooking oil in a canister.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, you got to baste your gremlin before you throw it in the microwave.
Dude, the microwave scene is a 10.
Well, see,
this is a 10.
So this is like the weird switch that gets turned. And again, why I had so much difficulty with the Gorometer is that like it goes from scratches and a hypodermic needle in your butt to like dismemberment and like get thrown in a blender, stabbed to death, and then the insane explosion.
This is the little bit you're gonna get right here, though. Like it don't happen again until later.
Oh, you know what's wild? They ended up reshooting the microwave gag because it was the original one was deemed too gory.
Whoa!
I said now I want to like. There's got to be.
I want to see.
I want the deleted
I
scenes on that one.
Yeah,
its
dude.
little weird gremlin hand is on like the glass just smearing down. Like
he's grunting, dude. He's in the version we all saw, and I didn't see this as a kid. The version I saw as a kid was censored. It wasn't. I didn't see the blowing up gremlin in the microwave, but in the version we see now, the gremlin gets shoved into the microwave and is going. Like he's grunting and struggling because then he implodes and goo everywhere, all over the place.
If we're collecting goo vials from this movie,
oh yeah, this is a good one.
Close tie, either final stages of Spike or this microwave one, because that one at least this Stripe, sorry, that you could like scoop up from the microwave and put into a small vial.
Oh my god, so good.
Behind the scene, there was an unused effect of the gremlin trying to pull the knife free from its body. The effect was considered too distressing and the shot omitted. However, you can see the effect over her shoulder as she microwaves the other gremlin.
I just want to say real quick, Lynn Peltzer is a motherfucking gremlin murderer. And she's the goes best. Harder than anybody in this movie. And when it comes to stay the fuck out of my kitchen,
as soon as a problem starts, she attacks it.
Yes.
Love that. You don't
very
see that
proactive mama bear.
And she goes into the living room, and then there's these hidden gremlins in the Christmas tree.
Red glowing fucking eyes. Like,
yeah,
God,
dude.
That's so good.
And this is when they kind of get the best of her, and that's why I'm like, when it comes to later in our what we're gonna rate our villain as, but whenever it comes down to this Christmas tree scene, they get the better of her, and they start to strangle her until Billy comes in, pulls a sword off the wall, and fucking knocks this gremlin into the fireplace. And this imagery
knocks its head off into the fireplace.
Dude, decapitates him, and then the decapitated head like lands right in the fireplace. So gnarly, so awesome.
Burning. So good.
Stripe runs away.
Yes, Stripe then runs away like
into
a little bitch.
The frozen water that immediately should have
into the snow. Yeah.
You should have just heard him land and go.
I guess they have a neighbor who's a doctor, so Billy's mom gets dropped off there
and never seen
again.
See you
later. Goodbye. Billy finds Gizmo and they go on the hunt for Stripe. It looks like he broke into a YMCA. They follow him in there. Stripe attacks Billy before jumping into the pool. It bubbles like crazy and Billy runs off. So like I said, this movie was not very huge for me, especially compared to the second one. But this scene I've
always remembered.
The way that it bubbles.
I love the cat sounds.
And the green lights. And just that illuminating, just weird 50,
and what about
50
those
pounds
weird,
of dry ice on top of the water like that.
Those weird cat sounds that are like like all the time.
Well, it's God, like the idea.
There's a lot of weird sounds throughout the movie when gremlins are present.
But it's that impending dread, because it's like half of a glass of water multiplied them into what, 6?
5.
Oh my God.
5? Yeah. So like an entire swimming pool. I mean, that's obviously.
That's why Billy is like, it could be hundreds, it could be thousands when he's talking to the cops.
Yeah. Well, because
that's why he runs the fuck out of there too.
Oh, immediately.
I would too.
Well, it's this crazy. That's why we get that stop motion scene of the entire army of gremlins, because there was no physical way for them to actually replicate that with puppets. Also,
they
I
could
guess
have done it with spider monkeys.
They could have done with shitty spider monkeys just shitting everywhere. Could you imagine a street scene where it's just a bunch of monkeys freaking out and fucking gremlin mass just throwing shit everywhere?
So Billy had run to the skeptical sheriff, and he's trying to convince him gremlins are real, as an army of gremlins invades the town.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You would think after, because he shows them
the Mogwai,
where it's like,
he says dim the lights,
the lights, here he is, and then being like, no, for real, you've never seen this turns into something way worse, and now there potentially could be thousands of them, so could we please do something? And they're just
for the sake of this movie,
cutie,
look at that cutie.
For the sake of this movie, I just give it up to these guys are drinking on Christmas. They're the cops. They already admitted they're drinking. They're drinking.
They're also like the mentality of these cops is like from Jump Street, because like the opening scene is the sheriff trying to coerce the guy who sells Christmas trees to give him a Christmas tree, and then what was it? The judge or something behind it goes, "I paid for mine."
Yeah,
right. I forgot to mention the chaos factor that I was trying to give y'all in this movie. The chaos factor went from like 0 to like 5 whenever the gremlins or the Mogwai got bred. Then now in the pool scene, the chaos factor went from 5 to like 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. And it's about to go up, because the gremlins are swinging from the Futterman's fucking satellite.
Yeah, from his antenna.
Yeah,
his antenna. And Futterman's downstairs with his adorable wife. I love the Futtermans. His wife's like, honey, you have the thingy. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, it's all fucked up. Goddamn foreign TV. We should have got a Zenith.
Mm-hmm.
It's so stupid.
I do like that. I mean, it's weird because it's spoiling it for the sequel. But it's like in this one, it's very ominous if they survive the attack or not. Obviously, in the second one, you see them, so they did survive.
Yeah,
but in this one, it's like this weird, like this attack scene ends with like almost a comedic, like.
Apparently, it's like a hard to notice line at the end of the movie when we get the news reporter. He says something about going to interview Mr. Futterman.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Nice.
So, and they did that specifically to try and answer.
Well, also,
question.
The name of the actor who plays
Dick
Mr. Futterman,
Dick Miller.
He's in almost every single Dante film.
Yep.
So like it would make sense that if there was going to be a potential sequel, that he would be back for that.
I like that when this movie, this scene happens in this movie. The gremlins fucking get his snowplow, and he's like, there's gremlins in the cab. And they literally, the gremlin that's running through his house, y'all, I'm telling you right now, 10 out of 10 on that gremlin, because he is laughing so maniacally.
I think this is also like the time where they take that like carny, like it's like almost fucking circus music. Like it's tingy and
this
weird.
Is the first time you ever hear it. Is the Gremlins theme?
Yeah,
is in this scene with the
Yep, and what a beautiful juxtaposition of this fucking batshit song as these things are jumping up and down joyously trying to maneuver this thing. I love the fact that like they're homicidal, but they really enjoy their job. They're having a really good time doing it.
This is where I go from, you don't go goblin mode, you go gremlin mode. They started terrorizing mailboxes where the priest comes out to like deliver a piece of mail, but he lets the other guy go and the gremlins are grabbing him. They start causing traffic accidents with the fucking traffic lights. They know shit about like, again, intelligence, like electronics, like, and that's part of the mythology of the gremlins. But yeah, dude, like, how are you? Ancient Chinese secret, but also they know about electronics. Like, what? Well,
it's
the gremlins are so fucking menaces.
They learn to be a choir within being alive for less than like what, an hour?
Yeah.
Which, okay, they never explain it. Obviously, I'm jumping around, but like the second we get to the
we're about to get there.
Okay,
we're there.
The sheriff gets a call about the snowplow tragedy. So he goes off to deal with that. Billy's like, I'm telling you, it's gremlins. They're like, yeah, whatever. Mrs. Deagle is a cat lady.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Then this is a fun IMDb behind the scene because, you know, she's such a greedy character. Mrs. Deagle, the richest lady in town, had named her cats after different kinds of currency, including kopeck, ruble, peso, drachma, and dollar bill.
Old dollar bill.
Old dollar bill.
So we're here.
She has a chair that gets her down the stairs.
Yeah.
And she fucking has all these cats in her house. And then Stripe looks up and sees her estate. And he's like, Deagle. And I'm like, fuck yeah. She's about to get the comeuppance of the century.
This is this weird. Okay. So because they don't show a lot of on-screen deaths, you know what I mean? Because we have Deagle, we've got technically Santa Claus that's covered in gremlins. I mean, you don't actually see him die, but he gets swarmed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like the idea that these gremlins had to have gotten these clothes off of children to make them fit makes me to believe that they killed a group of children that were out playing somewhere and then put on their clothes. And again, you're not going to find that body count anywhere. But in my head, I was like, these gremlins killed a bunch of kids. And now they're just
they
running
must
around.
have found a children's costume shop because they also find all sorts of clothes that fit them that kids would have not been wearing.
The bar scene reminds me of like fucking something out of like Donald Duck's Quackbusters. Like it's like literally like it's
so
every Hollywood idea.
Okay, so we see the chair. They're singing outside. She's gets mad and comes out to throw water on them.
No. Yeah, dude. And she's like, she sees them and they're demons to her. And she's like, I love this dialogue because she's like, they've come for me. I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
It's like she knows she's going to hell, dude.
Right.
So she freaks out, sits in her mechanical chair, and it sends her flying upstairs and out the window into the street. This is another one of the few things I remembered from this movie.
Fucking perfect. And the cops show up and they see that Santa getting mauled by all the gremlins, and they're like, what the fuck is that, Frank? And Frank's like, I don't know. And at the same time, the gremlins are cutting their brakes.
Yes.
And they start driving.
But also it's like,
Billy,
what a bunch of piece of shit cops. Like, I understand that this is something new. You got warned by a kid, maybe a 20-year-old, maybe he's 15. You're not the age ambiguous child with a mogwai in his backpack told you that shit was about to pop off. And then you have a man covered in green creatures ripping him apart. And then you just kind of go like, we should get out of here. And then slowly roll the window up as this man's frantically trying to get, like, help me.
They can't. I think they can't cope with it. Like they personally cannot cope with it, and they're also drunk, and they do try to get away, but this leads to them flipping off the back of another truck, and that truck going through a storefront.
You can see the skid plate so obvious under that cop car. Like to make the
like the whole
accident occur correctly.
Again, suspenders of disbelief. They've been concrete the entire time.
It's something they put on the bottom of the cop car so they could hit it at the right angle.
Yeah, when you watch it again,
dope,
there's an entire like thing of like metal that's welded to the bottom end of the car.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's like a grind
Hell
plate.
yeah.
Oh, there's what we see Pete defending his house. I think this is the last time we see him, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, kind of.
Billy's car works now, apparently, so he and Gizmo start driving.
Mm-hmm.
Billy's dad still can't get a hold of home, but that's okay. He's got an ashtray to sell. Smokeless ashtray.
He's like, I see you're a smoker.
Yeah. It's like, what gives you the hint that I'm smoking a cigarette, or I have this ashtray with like 100 butts in it?
I like this scene coming up next where Kate is doing her best to serve all these gremlins.
Yeah, we're here. We're at the pub. They're tearing it up, and Kate's serving them for some reason.
This is a 10 out of 10. Like, it's chaos incarnate. You got gremlins flashing people. You got gremlins shooting each other with revolvers, playing cards, fucking dancing to music videos. Like,
apparently a lot of this was like not improv, because that's not the right choice of words, but it was like made in a list. Because wasn't this bar scene done 2 months after initial shooting? Like, this was just Dante.
I didn't have anything on that.
Okay, so apparently like this whole bar scene was done after like after most of the shooting, and obviously because the only actor that had to be there was her. So like all of this was just crazy gags with just puppets for almost like 2 months of filming, and they would just throw ideas to be like, dude, this would be funny if we did this, this, and this. So like most of these weird characters and stuff were them just
believe it.
Dressing up, dressing down, because this is a like, talk about a clusterfuck scene. Like, there is so much shit going on.
This was the other thing I remembered, because I remembered when I first saw it after seeing Gremlins 2 so much, I was like, here we go. This is what I'm talking about.
Right?
yeah, dude, this is wild.
The flasher.
This is like chaos incarnate. This is, again, the chaos factor goes up to 7, probably 10.
Breaks the scale.
I do like the mugger.
It's going to break the scale when it comes to the town, because the town does get, and like, we're not talking about it, but the town gets really fucked up.
Oh,
well,
even
we
off
see that
camera.
when the cops are like coming into town.
Oh, totally. What's your favorite gremlin in the bar scene? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I do.
I think mine's a tie between Flasher and Ski Mask.
Mine is Tom Waits gremlin, the guy the guy that's chilling out to slow jazz.
The Humphrey
and then,
Bogart
like,
That the puppet comes to.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Humphrey
he's like,
Bogart. That's mine too. He's
and
supposed
all
to be
that.
Humphrey Bogart. That one.
I didn't. I take him in my head canon as Tom Waits. He's like listening to jazz, and he's like, yeah. That's the way I take him, and I'm like, and then when the puppets come in, and then he sees the guy get fucking bonked on the head, but then later he gets bonked and he falls down slowly, like holding his cigarette, and I'm like, yeah, I love that guy.
I also I like the one that drinks the beer from the tap and his belly swells.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
that reminded me of I guess meat or beer scene in Labyrinth, where all the goblins are just like drinking and stuff like that. And there's one that's underneath one of these kegs and is just drinking, and he's got this ginormous pot belly.
Very dope. Love it.
Kate discovers their fear of light when she's trying to light the cigarette. You would have thought that she would have thought they were afraid of fire from that.
Right.
But gets the camera, starts flashing bright light to make her way out. When I took it out, but when the gremlin shoots at her and hits the framed picture of the plane behind her, that was one of the, I guess, a plane tied to Gremlin stories somehow. So it's a little nod to that.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Billy picks her up, but the car doesn't work again. So they run to the bank, which has been destroyed. It's already been gremlined.
And she tells her dark story, man.
Yes. This is when she tells her story about her. It's Christmas Eve. Her dad never showed up. Goes a few days. Goes to light a fire. Smells something. Call the cops. It's her dead dad. He
broke his neck. While trying
instantly.
to be God, and that's the day I learned.
Yeah,
he was
trying to be Santa Claus, and I think this is way darker and way more substantial than some people give it credit for. Like, this is a really dark scene.
Heavy.
I feel like this is a pretty famous monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, like we were talking about before, was like a lot, like executives wanted this monologue out of the movie.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
According to director Joe Dante, Warner Brothers executives were strongly against the scene in which Kate says she hates Christmas because her father died in the chimney dressed as Santa. He later explained, the scene encapsulated the whole ethos of the picture. There's a duality of humor and horror, but Warner Brothers just hated it. Though Steven Spielberg sided with Dante, the executives still dissented, and Dante said, I heard after it was out they were sending instructions to projectionists to see if they could cut it, which thankfully didn't happen.
Oh, wow.
Good. And also, this scene is like what makes the movie have this emotional weight to it, in my opinion, where you get Billy's always trying to court Kate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the Christmas argument, but it ends up good.
Yeah, it's fine.
But this gives you that final little bit of fuck. And I what I love during this scene where she's doing her monologue is that in the background you hear the town of Kingston Falls. There's explosions, sirens, like everything's going
it's
wrong.
going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
the Gremlins are overrunning that town.
Oh,
this monologue originally was going to be given by Dory of Dory's Tavern, and that was going to be a bigger character in the original Christopher Columbus script.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
It's, but I really like that they included this because it does show this dark side of Christmas, like we were talking about before, where like I think in a lot of movie portrayals, Christmas is this fun, overjoyous thing that everybody gets caught up in the Christmas spirit, and no matter like if you're a Scrooge or not, it's this. And then like having her character introduced, being like, no, like the holidays can also be very depressing, and like I had a family tragedy happen around and on Christmas, so I don't celebrate it. Like I feel like that's a I don't know, positive, but it's just like it shows a completely different light on the holiday that usually isn't in a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Billy's dad is still making his way back. We, get a shot of that. Billy and Kate go outside and the streets are quiet.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
It's decimated.
They go to the
Kingston
movie
Falls.
theater. Same movie theater from that Marty crashes into in Back to the Future.
No.
When he comes back to the future.
I like how he says, well, Kate says, what are they doing? And Billy's like, they're watching Snow White. And they love it. Because they're all singing along to the hi-ho, hi-ho, off to work we go. All the Gremlins are loving it.
Funny, the Snow White makes me think of, so I was fortunate enough to be around Stan Lee a few times of Marvel fame. And this gives you an idea how old he was. He somehow at one point was talking about when he saw Snow White in theaters. Whoa. And how it absolutely like blew his mind to see this like full length animated movie was synced with the sound and the songs and everything. It was just like,
that's wild.
One of the I think he was talking about inspiration or early inspiration or something.
That's awesome.
But I was like, Jesus, you saw Snow White in
theaters.
He old, huh? Well, he's dead now. R.I.P. Stan Lee, but yeah.
So yeah, Gremlins are at the movies. They're loving it. Billy and Kate are sneaking around because they're going to go to the boiler room. Billy's got a plan to release some gas.
We're going to pull some Shining and blow this bitch up.
Yeah, dude.
So they do that. Meanwhile, Stripe had gone for concessions and then sees a candy shop across the street. So he gets out of there.
Yeah.
As Billy and Kate are sneaking back out after they set the fire, something happens with the reel so that they can see them behind the screen.
And I love the shot of the Gremlins.
The animated. Oh, yeah, God, it's
going
so
towards
good.
the screen. It's amazing.
I like the fact that they used between the stop motion and the animation sequence here is that there's no other time that you actually see the Gremlins move their legs.
Right.
So
well,
in
the bar you do.
They don't walk though, right?
Yes, they do.
They do walk.
They do.
Okay.
Yeah, they do walk.
You see some walking in there.
It's a little bit.
I was looking for it.
It's like a
quick
little
amongst
shot.
all the chaos. Yeah.
Yep. But in the scene where when they're going through the cinema, they're fucking jumping through the screen and they tear the screen. That's dope too. But then they all start running, and that's when you get like the army of gremlins like running towards the door and hopping over each other. But it's all practical puppets, and it's all dope, man. Like they do a great blend in this movie of animation and practical and just nailing it, man. Nailing it.
So they make it out of the theater, block the door, get down the street, theater blows up. IMDb behind the scene. When Phoebe Cates asked the explosives guy how big the explosion would be, he said, "Well, we've pracked it pretty good." Cates thought, "What the hell does that mean?" She went on to reveal, in the event, it was deafening, and the heat was so intense I thought it had singed my eyebrows. It blew the doors off the theater, as you can see in the film, and it shattered windows on a building at Universal a mile away.
Holy shit.
Nice. It was a great explosion. Like, that was a great scene.
Yep.
When the theater blew up, fucking
So that's
dope.
all of them but one. Stripe got out. We see him go into a department store, and they go after him. We also get a fun little shot of Stripe riding a skateboard, talking about picking up stuff quick.
Yeah, right.
Not easy. Billy gives Kate Gizmo and tellers to find... They're inside. He says, "Take Gizmo, find a light switch." They have their first kiss. Billy is now chasing Stripe around for a while, trying to find him.
Yeah, he grabs a baseball bat, and there's these scenes where the Stripe shows up on these TV sets, and Billy's knocking him out with the baseball bat, but he surrounds him on the TV screens, and Billy's like looking, and Stripe runs away real quick and hides amongst a bunch of stuffed animals, and one of them is
E.T.
E.T.
Yeah, and it's also got Sylvester and Bugs Bunny. And here's an IMDb behind the scene. Gremlins designer Chris Wallace wanted Stripe to rip E.T. apart, but wasn't allowed.
Steven Spielberg said, "Hell no."
I'm still making
You're
money
lucky
off
you
that.
get him.
What you get in these next few scenes, though, is Billy tracking down Stripe, and you get those blade tosses, man. He's tossing those
Oh,
blades.
the saw blade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
dude.
that like he throws the saw blades, and doesn't he like escape on a tricycle? Like this is living cartoon shit where it's like,
well, he will in a minute, but he does also the baseball pitching machine that fucks Billy up real good.
This is when he starts getting him. Yeah.
This is our 1% of human damage. And he also gives him a crossbow arrow to the arm.
Yeah.
And then he whips out a chainsaw, which is totally Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm like, yo, yeah.
Which was Billy. What's the actor? That
It
played Billy?
was Joe Dante and Zach Galligan's idea as an homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
The actor,
I didn't know
he
that.
He suggested it. He was like, yeah, but you got this Texas chainsaw. I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have like a baseball chainsaw fight? And then I was like, yes, that would be cool.
That's so dope, dude.
Stripe was not going to attack with a chainsaw in the script.
That's dope.
This is sort of the Gizmo to the rescue shot. It's a minute before he does anything, but when we first see Gizmo driving in the car. And now I have another IMDb behind the scene. The Gizmo puppet had been designed only for the actions that happened in the first half of the movie because of him. He was supposed to become Stripe, so that's all they designed it for. This explains why Gizmo doesn't do much of anything in the second half of the movie, but ride around in the backpack and give reaction shots until the ending when he kills Stripe. In all likelihood, it's also why Gizmo spends much of the final store sequence driving around in the toy car.
Yeah.
It was a simple way to keep the Gizmo character mobile without needing to move his limbs very much while looking adorable. And then
I liked
heroic.
when he went running though, and he was on all fours, and he looked so cute. That was really cool.
He's a cutie.
Yeah.
Lights on. The store lights have been turned on. Unfortunately, store fountain has also been turned on. And this startles Stripe, and he gets dragged across the floor by the chainsaw.
I like when he hits the wall, he gets up and he says, "Looky now, water." Because he knows Billy's name, by the way. We haven't said that, but he knows Billy's name. He done said Billy.
He knew
hadn't said
Eagle
it.
when he got outside of her house.
Right. But we hadn't said that. He knows Billy. Like these creatures are very intelligent. They know how to read. They know how to use weapons like pistols. Like they're not dumb. They are crazy, but they're not dumb. And once he finds the fountain, Gizmo fucking comes flying in on the car.
Well, hold on. Dad arrives in town and he's looking around like, what the fuck is going on? And as he's passing the department store, Barney jumps out and runs inside. Then he's over at the fountain. Stripe shoots at Billy, and then puts his finger in the fountain. Get back bubbles.
Yeah, those gnarly back bubbles, dude.
IMD behind the scene. The fountain was filled with liquid nitrogen, and once Stripe, I guess I should have put this a little later, because Stripe falls in it, and comes out, and they needed puppetry for that. So a puppeteer hid inside the water wearing special protective gear because of the liquid nitrogen.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Now Gizmo launches the car, but he
Free
misses, or
bird.
so it seems, because we had seen him look at the window earlier, and he opens the window and gets Stripe with the sunlight.
Oh, what a gnarly death too.
And
my God.
the way they had shot it, he opened it, but it didn't. He was still in shade, and Billy opened a second window, and it got him. But Spielberg wanted Gizmo to be the hero of the movie.
Yeah,
so-
Gizmo
I
gets
agree
the
with
kill.
that. Yep.
Yeah, I agree with it too.
This ending is so Evil Dead with the way that the final Stripe looks, deteriorating
It reminds me of Raiders.
Yeah.
with the melting. Yep.
Mhm.
I picture the Evil Dead ending with the demons and the claymation, but I know this ain't claymation, but that's just what came to mind
the skull
on
with
this last
with
watch.
the bleached white eyeballs is very dead-eyed looking. Yeah, for sure.
It's so gross and it's so amazing. And
Well, just the multiple parts of the sludge where he's melting and then he's skinless. And then he flops out and it's got that and then
whenever
his bones deflate. I think that's the first time I saw a creature's bones deflate.
dude, that was the thing. Whenever Billy goes over to look at it and it pops out and then the bones deflate and then you see just Barney, aka Mushroom, looking at it and it's just going down,
You should have
down.
taken a pee on it.
Dude, that would have been dope
This
too.
is what you get for stringing me up, you piece
Fuck
of shit.
yeah, dude.
Billy's dad seems content to silently observe all of this.
He don't say shit.
Again, no big deal.
I think that he is quiet because he realizes that if anybody
It's far beyond his control at this
if
point.
anybody actually gets the fact that he brought the Mogwai into the town, I feel like he's going to be liable for a whole lot of shit.
Oh, sure.
Well,
So
jump
we-
to the ending.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
good for him,
basically
it don't
covered
happen like
everything that happens there. Now they're recovering back at Billy's. Mogwai man, grandfather from the shop, shows back up, takes Gizmo back.
Yep.
Bye, Billy.
Gizmo, wants to say bye.
Dude, that's it. He tells the dad, he's like, I told you there was too much responsibility and you didn't do it. And
everything
then-
that you what's that fucking quote? It's you do what you've done with everything in nature, and kind of just scolds him. It's
all of nature's gifts. Yeah, you
exploit-
fucking
There's
ruin it.
There's a little message there.
Message.
And that's all we'll give you.
Yeah, it's good.
And then when he's going to leave, he understands everything that the Mogwai is saying, and then he says, "Oh, he has one last thing to say to you," and it's what Ross said.
Bye, Billy.
Mhm.
And dude, that tugs at my heartstrings so hard. And he says, "One day you might be ready, and Mogwai will be waiting." And he fucking leaves the house, and you get this outro.
Not before getting a smokeless ashtray.
Yeah,
yes.
dude.
He's like, you know what
Man.
it is? He's like, yeah, man, a gas station tried to sell me one.
He's like, this is a generous gift of technology. But when he's leaving the house and he's marching down the street, that silhouette of him and the town and the outward outro from Hoyt Axton is just everything. It's everything. You might think that something's on the fritz in your house, but before you call the repairman, turn on all the lights, check all the cupboards and cabinets, and look under all the beds, because you never know. There just might be a gremlin in your house.
Dun, dun, dun.
That shit is a 10.
And that's it. Finn, it's over.
Yeah.
We nailed it. You got any final thoughts before we move on to the crematorium of questions?
No, I think we should open up the blinds and get us seared with the crematorium of sunlight
Travis
questions.
might.
Oh, you do? No?
No, I'm
Okay.
ready to go.
All right, cool. Let's do it. It's time for the crematorium of questions. Here we go. How would we survive this one? I think as long as we're not overpowered, we could definitely survive.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it
they
depends
are-
on the numbers is what I mean.
Yeah.
Group safety.
Group safety for sure. You know what? It really depends. I mean, post pool, that is anybody's game. Because I mean, like, you could be dealing with like carolers, which would be 5 of them, maybe 4 of them. But then if you've got like the bar,
That's what I mean. That's what I meant by depends on the numbers. Like,
yeah,
are there 4 or 5 in my house, or did an army of them just come out of a Y?
yeah,
I think I could survive a few of them, but if it's after the Y, you're pretty much fucked.
Yeah, you're pretty
to a degree.
Well, I mean, look at the science teacher. That was 1-on-1.
Mhm.
Like, if these things get you by surprise, you're pretty much nuked.
Yeah, if you get surprised. But the mom takes
I'm gonna
out a
say
bunch.
Yeah, that's true.
the mom does, and she's a G. I think I would probably die if a few of them got a hold of me.
Yeah, that's the
but
thing.
Mhm.
I want to think I'd survive, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would hope that I could harness that mama bear power, but coin flip.
It's a
for me.
close one. Yeah. How would you make the film gooier? It's already very gooey, but all the
Gooey.
gore really is goo in this one.
Yes, exactly.
Reinstate all the deleted scenes that they talked about or whatever,
Oh,
like
like the
where they were going to have it.
Decapitations
Yeah.
and fucking dog death and shit.
Yeah, that's how you do that.
Yeah, you could. I think that you could probably throw maybe 1 or 2 more human deaths into this, but like,
I don't think it needs much, really. It's good the way it is.
very, very rarely will I say this, but I don't think it needs to be gooier.
Yeah,
I think there's
Me either.
enough goo in this.
that is very rare.
I would like to see it, but I don't need it for this
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
Villain level 1 through 10, power level and iconography for
Ooh.
Gremlins.
Okay, I'm gonna say iconography.
That's a
Absolutely
5.
a 5.
Yeah.
There's no argument on that. Power level is weird because power level I feel is the same that we've been having contemplating with zombies, but I feel like Gremlins in comparison to zombies, like one of them is still pretty lethal.
Yeah, and
So,
they're
like-
smarter than a zombie and stronger than a zombie,
Zombie, but it's the same. But it's the numbers game.
but
too,
they're
you know what I
easily
mean? Like,
killed.
Yes, they're very easily killed. So it's like this weird. I would say like a 1-on-1 power level. I would give a 3 because it's more than 2. I feel like a middle of the road because it's got claws, it's got fangs, it's small, it's conniving, it's stealthy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But then like if you've got more than like 5 of these things, I mean,
I
power
can see
level's
the
gonna be
argument
not.
for 3 on an individual basis.
And then as a group, I'm not going to give them god tier.
Right.
But they are, but realistically though, because of the multiplying factor with the water, like it is apocalyptic for sure. Like if these
Could be,
things were these things unchecked.
But then at the
underwater-
same time, when daytime comes, they die.
Yep. They
Yeah.
fucked.
so they'd have to like all hide out during the day, which again, wouldn't be god tier.
But
so I would
it'd
say
be
in a group,
easy to
maybe
go
4.
around to try and get them during the day.
Mhm.
Totally.
I agree with everything Ross said. 5 iconography. I mean, we still talk about them to this day. They haven't had a movie since 1990, and they're still popping up in.
There's a Mogwai
Lego.
animated show on Max.
Yep.
Have you guys seen this? Have you heard about this?
No.
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen
either.
it. But there's that. They pop up in Lego movies. They pop up everywhere. The fact that they still pop up that much, iconography is a 5. As far as their danger level, yes, if it's all at night and if they just get to multiply out the ass, you can potentially be very fucked. Once the sun rises, it's a whole different story. So I'm gonna go with Ross on this one and be like a 3 for that one. So I'd give it like a 8 out of 10 for their villain
Feels
level.
good to me. Should it have a sequel, and what is your sequel? It has a sequel, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
If I were to pretend it didn't, I don't want a sequel. I want a gritty reboot. Still keep the humor, but it's not a family movie. You know, it's for adults.
I would go.
I agree.
God, you know what? I keep doing this all. I would go like Prey. I would do, because Mogwais are so old. I want to do a different time era with them overwhelming, or like realistically, maybe doing like they're the reason for like the Chicago fire or something, some weird, crazy historical event, and then you realize
they caused the Boston Tea Party somehow.
Yeah.
I agree with both y'all. Like, I would like a gritty reboot or a timepiece.
Gizmo story.
Like, I would love either one. Like, I just want more of what this has to offer.
Oh, totally.
Would you buy the soundtrack or score on vinyl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy.
This is a tough one. I like the music for this movie, and I feel it's all very identifiable and works for the movie. I could see maybe choosing to listen to like the 3 main songs here and there. I don't know that I want the vinyl though. It'd have to be cool. I would get a cool one, you know, some special edition, whatever.
It's gonna have like a fuzzy gizmo, like
gremlin in a microwave.
Yeah, I was gonna
splatter.
say the case is like a fuzzy gizmo.
Yeah.
Feeling.
Or if you got
it's
like
made
like
of
Ross is
mogwai.
saying, if you got the microwave on the fucking cover,
or just like those
that would be
color,
dope.
like the colored
in
vinyls.
The vinyl, yeah.
In the vinyl would be fantastic.
Is anything action figure worthy?
Everything is
ton of stuff. The gizmo I had is bigger than the gizmo in the movie. Like,
I've got
Gremlins.
my action figure would
go ahead.
Oh
no, I was
sorry.
just gonna say Gremlins as well.
Oh, for sure. Like those aside, I would have the old Chinese man, and he's like got a pull string on his back.
Oh,
like Woody from Toy Story,
and just scolds you.
Yes, he fusses you for how you didn't
listen,
respect the Mogwai, and you didn't like do all the rules right. And he's like, "You're not ready for the Mogwai," and I'm like, "God damn, thank you, old man, for your wisdom." That would be my thing. And also, you would have that gong play whenever Randall Peltzer's in his shop and he looks down at that dragon statue. Yeah, dude. I'd
There's
have
so many
as
like
a part of it every
cartoonish sound effects in the movie. Nothing
so
compared
good.
to 2, but what merch prop promo item would you want from the film? Merch, I've had a gizmo. Prop, I want the gizmo. I want any gizmo, but in particular, I want gizmo in the car. And promo item, I don't know that I can. Maybe like a bath bomb that makes the pool like
green and bubbly. That would be a really good one. Yeah, I mean prop. I mean, obviously, I said bathroom buddy. I would totally get half melted skull from the fountain.
Oh yeah,
would be a fun one. And then like a promo item. Oh, you know what I would do? I would have one of those like the egg sacs. Like the in-betweeny pupil stage. But you know, like those toys now where like you pour water on top of it and it dissolves the outer shell of it, but have like, you know,
a gremlin in there.
Yeah, but like a
dude,
like one of like a blind box type thing. It could be like one of 20 different kinds of them.
I would go with that for my promo item if it's like I could have my my kids, hey, this is how you know, mature your Mogwai to a gremlin, and like we're doing like a science experiment through a box. That would be dope. As a prop, man, I never really thought about that one. I want Mrs. Deagle's snowman head.
Oh, fun.
That's a good one.
that she carries to the bank.
Yeah.
I just want that one. Fuck you, Mrs. Deagle. Now I got it.
Ooh,
You can't
nice.
kill Barney now, you bitch.
What are we doing at the midnight show?
Oh, you know what?
Go ahead. No, you got another one?
I'm throwing Mrs. Deagle at the midnight showing through her fucking chair. Fuck Mrs. Deagle.
Yeah, I would say like snowballs.
Yeah, I was gonna say have water guns and shoot water at the screen.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
There should be like a splash zone at a Gremlin showing.
What's your popcorn bucket?
Ooh, I mean, an easy one would be the egg sack. Would be a weird one to dip your hand in.
Gremlin head, Gizmo head.
Mine's gonna be Phoebe
You
Cates.
could go real dark and just do a chimney. There might be a prize inside.
I'm going full Phoebe Cates is my popcorn bucket.
Perfect. Yep. Well, that wraps up our crematorium, and it's time to check our fingers. So there's a finger drop.
I only want your fingers.
Should we all, cut our fingers open and bleed on it?
Can you wrap your fingers around this?
I'll take a Voorhees burger and a side of Jason's fingers.
Show them.
On this show, we like to use a rating scale of 0 to 5 fingers. Each finger represents a different quality about the movie. Chop off different bits of fingers to get your total rating. These ratings are intended to be subjective on how we feel about the movie. Doesn't matter if the movie's objectively good or bad. And we don't have Brian tonight. I didn't even ask him because we got re-ratings coming up very soon, and he can toss in his scores then. Unfortunately, I guess we won't know where this stands
or
in the Goo Book tonight.
He may add it in post.
I doubt that.
No, he's not going to. and I don't blame him.
So I will kick us off because I don't know where Brian lands on it, but I know of the three of us, I will be the lowest. Engaging is a 1. Mm-hmm. Nothing about it isn't engaging. And there's so many little things to look for too. So it helps keep you engaged and will help with watchability later on. Sticky, I'm going to give like a 0.75 to. It would have been lower, but I hadn't seen it in maybe 20 years. And now that I had only watched it a couple years ago before this watch, remembered most of it.
Yeah.
T-shirtable is definitely a 1. I mean, there's a million good shirts that could be from this movie. I say it's definitely a 1. I am not going to buy a Gremlin shirt just to have one, but when I see the right one, I will get it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cockles is a 1 as well. It's again what you said, Ross, about the stylization of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I was a kid, and being such a fan of the second one, this stylization really threw me off. I wasn't into it. But even though it's a family movie with all this cute stuff, and but it's an all ages movie, and I appreciate it more now as an adult. So 1 there. And then rewatchable, I'm gonna give a 0.75 to. I think it'll maybe be like an every other Christmas type of movie for me. I don't think it'll be yearly. But I'm into it. And that puts it at a 4.5, which is exactly where I have it on Letterboxd.
I love this score.
So
I love this score.
I think that works.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Ross, let's jump over to you, my friend.
Alrighty. Engaging is going to be a 1. I mean, I'm engaged every time I see this. It's remarkable how engaged I am while watching this. And maybe it's because I watch it primarily seasonally. So it's almost like I'm anticipating it. You know what I mean? Sticky is also going to get a 1. Everything sticks. I mean, that might just be because I've seen it 1,000 times, but it's like so many memorable scenes, so much. It's so sticky, so sticky. La Brea tar pit sticky. Like it just sucks you in. It just lets you live there. T-shirtable is also going to get a full 1. I mean, I own a Gremlins t-shirt. You know what I mean? Like
there you go. Gotta give it the 1.
Gotta give it the 1. Cockles. is going to get the full one as well. It's the aesthetic. It is just the I mean, this whole movie, there is just, it's when you do the uncanny valley right. And there's so many movies that don't get it perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, this town is so surreal and the atmosphere is so surreal for me that, like, it and all the batshit stuff that happens, it just, I don't know, it creates a very nice ecosystem for itself. So it just eviscerates my cockles. Rewatchable is going to get a 0.5.
Whoa, 0.5. Not even a 0.75, even though you watch it yearly.
I watch it yearly, but now I'm at the point, because I've been watching this since I was a kid, that it's this, like, I don't know if it's like rewatchable burnout, but it's like, if I don't get a chance to watch Gremlins, I'm not that mad over Christmas time. You know what I mean? And it's also weird that I only feel that I need to watch this in the month of December. So, like, I don't get the urge to watch this outside of Christmas at all. You know what I mean? Like, which I do feel I should weigh in on rewatchable. And to be totally honest with you, I don't think, the last 2 years, last 3 years, I haven't seen this on Christmas or around in the month of December. So this is the first time in a few years that I've seen this. So, like, I wanted it to realistically be in re-ratings. I'm going to bump it up to a 0.75. I'll just let you know that right now. But for the idea,
when this comes out, that'll be like next week.
Oh yeah, that's true. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to give it. No, I'll give it a 0.75. I'll give it a 0.75 now. It's just, it is. You may get burnout from this, but I still watch it all the time. It's still great. You know what I mean? Like, and that puts me right at like a 4.75, 4.5, which I thought this would be. Like, again, it's not a perfect 5 for me, but I don't think it should be. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But it's nearly there.
It's almost there.
Hell yeah.
That makes sense. I've done that before. Great. And then Brian, I don't even know his history with it. I don't know if this is something that he's ever been into or not. So I guess
this will be exciting for the re-ratings
in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Ooh, that leaves our guest of honor. We already know it's a 5 in his heart, but how does it rate on the scale?
Ooh.
Engaging. It rates engaging as a 1. The setup with the mysterious creature, all these rules you have to follow, and of course the rules have to be broken, because otherwise how are we gonna have a story? It's pretty neat. Sticky 1. I can quote this movie from beginning to end. Guys, I know this movie backwards and forwards. And I've always wanted a Mogwai.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid. So it's very sticky. T-shirtable is a 1. Kingston Falls postcard. Rockin' Ricky Rialto. Gremlin's head on a burning fireplace. The Flasher Gremlin. Even the poster from the movie. Anything could be a T-shirt. This is a dope movie to have a T-shirt from. Cockles is a 1. It's cute, crazy, great practical effects throughout the entire fucking film. In my opinion, iconic mascot from Gizmo to the Gremlins and the musical themes. That is the vibes that I want from this movie. Like, that gets me every fucking time, including on the rewatch. Rewatchability, speaking of, is a 1.
There it is.
Have I seen this movie in the last 5 years? No. But I saw it a lot growing up. I saw it so much on repeat in my VHS player growing up, on DVD when I was in high school, that I probably saw it within the last 5 years, but y'all, I don't need to watch this every year.
Right.
For this to be a 1. This is a 5 out of 5. All my fingers cut off.
Chewed off by a gremlin.
Beautiful. The scale worked.
Yeah, I've got a nub.
A big old gremlin nub. What
I got a gremlin nub for this
What
movie.
does the Discord have to say?
Oh, thank you for asking. We have Tiger Snake Kate popping in. Gremlins is the perfect Christmas time movie. I used to have the read-along book and cassette and would play it over and over. Fun fact about me is that I was a bit of an idiot when I was a kid and genuinely thought my request for a Mogwai from Santa would be honored. I also co-requested a wishing chair like the one in the Enid Blyton book with my friend Sarah, and alas, that did not arrive either. I wouldn't have seen this at the cinema, and I think I got the book/cassette before I even watched the movie. Gizmo singing and wearing his little Santa hat is forever etched into my heart. This is a 5 out of 5 for me. Correction, it was a read-along record, not cassette.
5 out of 5. Fuck yeah. Good
Killer.
job, Kate.
And then we got one more from Alex the Witch Plalix. This one gets 3 fingers because there's no Greta Gremlin to beat off to.
God damn.
That's all we got for club input on this one. We just put it in the club yesterday. So we got the couple plus T-Boo, who always responds, is here tonight. So we didn't don't have his to read, but if you listen to the show and you've heard us say T-Boo or Travis Maxel Boone, Witch Doctor Doom, or I think we always toss in the nightclub as well, but that's who's been joining us tonight. Listen to the Nightclub podcast.
Do it.
Thank y'all for having me so much, and I'm glad that I got to talk to my Chuddle friends, my brothers from another mother, about a movie that I really deeply love a lot. And Sam specifically, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this episode.
Thank you for being here.
And no, thank you, man, and thank you, Roos.
Oh yeah,
it's always a pleasure to talk to you about these awesome movies. Thank you, Chuddle the Pod. Chuddle the Pod, everybody. Fucking do that goddamn thing.
Hey, we don't know how this movie compares to others in the Goo Book because we don't have Brian's score. We have a few that have missing scores. I don't know if any of mine do, but I think we're missing a couple from you, Ross, and a couple from Brian, so that'll be fun.
Couple for me.
But that does it for the show. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you've had a wonderful holiday season. If you are down and not having a wonderful season, reach out to somebody. They're probably more receptive than you think. Or if you really need it, reach out and get help. That does it for the Chuddle Club meeting for tonight. Follow Chuddle the Pod on Instagram and Threads to stay up to date with the podcast. Follow at Ross Purvis on Instagram if you want to see his tattoos. Buy his artwork. If you're in the Central Florida area, get a tattoo from him. You can follow me, Chuddle the Sam, or Brian, Chuddle the Brian, on Letterboxd. If you have any interest in the movies we're watching or the lists I'm making, jump into our Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. T-Boo's in there. We've got a nice little community. All are welcome. We mostly talk horror movies, and you could get your rating read in the show. Just to make all that easy for you, there's a link for that in the show notes. Want to thank T-Boo once again for being on.
T-Boo!
We didn't do enough night plug-in. Nightclub.
Let's night plug
the Nightclub podcast.
Plug it. Nightclub plug.
Wherever you get podcasts, Nightclub on Instagram.
Yeah. Thank you, Chuddle the Pod. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Brian. Love you guys.
Yeah, love you too. Until next time.
Love you too.
Avoid the time loop.